What's up? My door didn't fucking close. What's up? Brain rot. We all know brain rot, right? Well, maybe. What is brain rot? Well, some people may define it as this. Yeah. Something that I feel like if I'm watching, I feel like I would just be high on LSD. And then there's this. My hand wasn't in frame. This! These completely made up fictional stories. Don't know how the hell they get views, but they do. And then there's this. Just thirst traps. Trying to get the attention of boys under the age of 15. And then there's the final, the one that everyone knows and loves. Family Guy Subway Surfers. Sand cutting. Minecraft parkour. Sometimes Temple Run. I don't know. Yeah, brain rot. We all know it. We all despise it. At least most people I would know would probably despise brain rot. So in this video, we're going to take a deep dive on how awful these things actually are. Let's start with My Story... Let's start with My Story Animated. My Story Animated is a YouTube channel with over 20 million subscribers. In just posts, you guessed it, people's stories animated. But there's a problem. There's a problem with this. Most, all, of these stories are complete bullshit. They are so far from being real that it's funny. Honestly, even if I was a kid, you know, I would look at these and be like, how the fuck are these real? God, I'm giving myself a headache just from screaming, and I'm, 3 minutes into recording this. It just blows my mind at how some people actually think this is real. Like, how the hell is a story called My Mom Woke Up from a fucking, 15 years, from a coma, for 15 years, to get revenge? How the hell is that real? Wanna know something else that's funny? These videos have such a big like to dislike ratio. I'm not even joking. Like, it's not the one where it's like mega amounts of dislikes like YouTube Rewind 2018. No. It's like, hold on, 750,000 likes to 17,000 dislikes. And that's on the same story I just mentioned. My mom woke up from a coma video. Are you fucking kidding me? They have 900 of these goddamn videos, and I just don't know how. There's no way this many crazy shit happens to people. It just blows my mind. And they've been doing this for fucking 4 years. 4 years only. And they pumped out 900 of these things. That's like less than a video per week. God, my head hurts so bad. Let's just take a deep dive into that first video I mentioned earlier. I hate having, you know what? This is My Story Animated. Oh. Okay, this is My Story Animated. Brain rot number 1. My mom woke up from a home after 15 years to get revenge.
I could not believe it was finally happening. I was going to meet my mom. The hospital called at 3:30 in the morning to tell my dad that my mom had finally woken up and was asking for him. I know this sounds crazy, but my mom's been in a coma.
It does.
Since I was born. I literally put her in a coma. And
this stuff can happen, but just doesn't seem likely.
She hadn't woken up once in 14 years. Until this morning.
This was made during the
Dad burst
pandemic.
into my room, almost knocking my lamp over on the bedside table. I startled awake, and before I could even open my eyes all the way, he said, "She's awake!" At first, I thought he was talking about me, and I was about to yell at him for waking me up. But then I realized what he meant. My mom was awake. My mom!
She doesn't look
I
thrilled.
never heard her voice in real life. I never seen her eyes look into mine. I've held her hand, but she's never held mine. She's been here the whole time. But she has been so far away, too. She had had a complicated pregnancy with me. I was a stubborn fetus, I guess you could say. I decided that I wanted to come early, which caused a lot of issues.
7 months early? By the way, we're only a minute into this. 7 months early? That could lead to some really bad health complications. Like, you realize... that it would have had serious health effects on the baby as well. Not just you. She should have some really bad health defects right now, and she doesn't? 7 months? That is 8 weeks premature. That is...
For her, and she was rushed into surgery to get me out. She never regained consciousness after she was put under anesthesia.
You should have some
Because
serious...
of our family's beliefs, my father never took her off the meds that kept her alive.
That's just decent human beings.
I would have to be the one to end my mom's life. But
Oof.
thankfully, it didn't sound like that was going to happen after all.
She's gonna end yours, though.
I bolted out of bed and ran to get my brother up. He was 2 years older than me, so he only remembers small fragments of Mom in real life. He remembers her singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star every night, and she made the best chocolate chip pancakes in the world. The sad thing is, he doesn't remember her smile or the way she smelled. So this day was the best news for all of us. My brother never said it out loud, but I knew that he blamed me for what happened to our mom.
He is 16. He's blaming you for what happened with complications with birth. Brain rot. And this is exactly why I'm making this video.
I didn't expect any less. He was nice to me growing up, but I always felt like there was something between us that wouldn't allow us to get closer. He hadn't forgiven me. Did you know the longest time someone has been in a coma was 19 years? Terry Wallace was in a coma.
Terry Wallace? Why the fuck are we talking about Terry Wallace?
For many years before he woke up on June 11, 2003. The ride to the hospital seemed to last forever, and we all rushed in as soon as my dad got the car in park. Our happy reunion was cut short when the doctor stopped us outside of my mom's room. He had a grave look on his face. Something was wrong.
She's a bitch now.
She wants to see Emma, the doctor said, and my dad pulled me forward. He said no problem and tried to get the doctor to open the door. No, see, the doctor started. She doesn't understand that Emma is a teenager now. She thinks that she just gave birth to her several hours ago. I think all of our faces turned white.
That's pretty understandable.
But we didn't know what.
But I feel like the first thing that would have happened was the doctors would have told her, hey, you've been in a coma for 14 years. Already pretty unlikely. Your daughter is healthy and alive. But no, the doctors were supposed to tell her the truth, and yet they didn't?
To do when it finally came to be. The doctor told my dad that he didn't want to shock my mother until we were all here at the hospital with her.
Then your dad's just an asshole. Your dad's just an asshole. He's gonna be more of a shock. It would be way less of a shock if the doctor just flat out told her. Instead of you were just walking in the room.
And he could introduce me. This wasn't going to be easy, and we all knew that. I held my breath as my dad and the doctor went into my mother's room. All I could hear was some muffled talking from the doctor and my dad. Then my mom started to scream uncontrollably.
What? We're 3 minutes into this.
Bring me my baby! I got goosebumps up and down my arms. This was probably the most afraid that I've ever been in my life.
Afraid?
I was so afraid that my mother was going to hate me, and that she was going to ruin her life too.
Then she's just a bad mother.
I almost ran out of the hospital, but my brother nudged me forward. The door to the hospital room stood open in front of me, and I walked through. I had never seen my mom with her eyes open. She already looked so much more full of life than she had just days ago.
There's no way.
I said, twirling my fingers through my hair. I did that when I was nervous. My mom was doing the same with hers, as she said, "Hi." My dad said that it was okay to step closer. I couldn't help but start to cry as I walked up to my mom.
Fair.
She had the same hair color as me, and her eyes were just as blue. My dad had always told me I looked like her, but I never could see it until now. In that moment, I felt like my mom had come back from the dead. I know she'd been here.
Yeah, 'cause she did.
She was as good as gone. I touched her face, and her eyes lit up. It's like she knew.
Where's the revenge? I mean, I know we're only 4 minutes into this, but I feel like the story could just end there.
It was me. It's like she remembered my soul when she carried me in her stomach. "It is you," she said, and she wrapped me in a humongous hug. We bawled together on the bed for quite some time. Then my mom pulled away from me and
I don't know if the
reached into
doctors would have allowed that.
It's so nice to finally meet you. The last time I saw you, you were on a black and white screen. She chuckled, talking about the sonogram.
Really?
Since then, I giggled and wrapped my hand around hers. Since Mom had been in bed for so long, most of her muscles were weakened. She'd need lots of physical therapy to get them back into shape. She wouldn't be able to leave the hospital for a couple of weeks, maybe even a month. And when she did leave, she would still be required to do
I
lots of
feel
physical
like,
therapy
okay, yeah,
and other
there we
therapies,
go.
I guess.
I was gonna say, a
Those
month
other
is pretty
therapies
damn
had to
generous.
do with all the time that had passed and missing out on our lives and things like that. The one thing we didn't know how to tell her was that our dad was remarried.
You just threw that in now. You know, the other wife. I mean, I guess it makes sense, the other wife. But if you kept her on life support and then just married another woman, what the fuck is wrong with the dad? This guy is not loyal.
We'd had a stepmom for the last 3 years. My brother and I had given her.
I get that you wanted, you know, a partner to help you out. But my god. This is way too unbelievable.
Dad our blessing to start dating again after the 10-year anniversary of when my mom was killed.
Oh my god. So you married after 1 year? You already had a wife, man. You married after a year. Probably not even a year of dating. Not even after a year of dating, you married someone. Kill me.
Coma. He'd been so lonely. He'd basically only
I get
lived
that
for us,
dating, but
and having
married?
someone there to help with the kids would be amazing too.
Babysitter.
We decided we weren't going to tell my mom that first day. We thought it would be too much to add to everything else that was going on. On the ride home, my brother blurted out that he didn't think we should tell Mom at all. He thought
She's gonna go home, and she's gonna find another woman sleeping in her husband's bed. Wait, Astros, is he legally married to both? Is he legally married to both women? When she was in the coma, did he make her sign a divorce paper?
we should make our stepmom move out, which I didn't think was such a bad idea either. Our dad was
Divorce her!
He hadn't fallen out of love with my mom. He'd just become stagnant. And the fact that she was awake now seemed to be weighing heavy on his mind. He was silent almost the entire ride home. When we pulled into the driveway, I asked if he was okay. He looked at me with tears in his eyes and said he just didn't know what to do. We walked into the house.
Which one do you love more? I have a hunch. Fuck.
We gave each other the biggest hugs. Our stepmom walked up and asked if we were okay.
She didn't even know? You left in like the middle of the night and she didn't even know? Oh my god, man. My god, fucking Christ.
Knew what had happened and all of the craziness that was now going to continue. Except she thought that my dad didn't love my mom anymore.
Oh my god, this man is manipulative. This man, imagine you wake up out of the coma after 14 years. Your husband walks up to you and is like, hey, divorce?
We're actually divorced. In fact, he never divorced our mom in the first place.
So he's married to 2 women.
Hell for
This guy is a dumbass. I know he's fake,
sure.
but still.
Later on that night, while my brother and I were supposed to be sleeping, we snuck down the stairway to listen to my dad and stepmom talking in the kitchen. So what are we going to do? My stepmom was asking. My dad was silent when she continued, saying that obviously we would need to contact my mom's family and have them help out. My dad said we were her family, and she would stay with us. My stepmom hated that idea, and suggested that we get a hotel room for her until we could figure something out. That's when he dropped the bomb. We're still married, he blurted. My stepmom nodded. Yes, we are, and I have every right to say what happens in this house. He gave my stepmom the side eye and said, no, I mean that I'm still married to her. So we aren't even legally married? My dad shook his head. I could tell he was crying again.
Damn.
My stepmom let out the biggest scream
How the
I'd
hell
ever
does that
heard.
work?
I think it blew out my eardrums.
If they're not legal,
Tears
they gotta, They had a wedding, right? Then how the hell are they not legally married?
Ringing, my brother and
You
I
feel like
ran
she would know that.
downstairs. My stepmom was slinging horrible words at my father, her face in a red rage. Her things were packed within a few hours, and she was off to her sister's house. I could tell my dad was hurt, but he looked almost relieved as well. By the end of the week, my mom was ready to come home. We set up the guest room for her, but we were surprised when she came in the house and went directly to the master bedroom. My dad didn't say anything, but my brother spoke up. He told her to put her things in the guest room, and she looked hurt. "It's okay, Mom. You can sleep in the master bedroom tonight," I tried to assure her. "Tonight? It's my bed, my house." She looked confused and worried. Then she asked where our stepmom was. We told her she left.
Oh, so she
I
knew.
don't know if I saw relief on her face or terror. We all helped her get settled in the bed, and she took a nap while we discussed how we were going to introduce my stepmom to my mom. However, not long after, our stepmom came to the door and knocked loudly, waking my mom up. My brother answered the door, and in a hushed tone, he told her to be quiet. Just as the door shut again, my mom was on the landing of the stairs.
Damn.
"Everything okay?" she asked, and came down the stairs, coming face to face with my stepmom. "Mom, this is Lisa," I said, stepping forward. Lisa crossed her arms as my mom put her hand out. Realizing that Lisa wasn't going to shake her hand, my mom
She's just. Can we just agree that she's. Lisa is a fucking asshole?
put hers back at her side. She offered Lisa to come on in, and Lisa snidely replied, "I don't need to be invited into my own home."
This is just how you know the story is fake. Everyone in this damn story is dumb as fuck. They have rocks in their head.
I guess it just shows the type of person my mom is, but she didn't reply with something nasty and rude. She graciously smiled and offered Lisa some tea. Then she said, "We can all call this place home." Lisa scoffed. That's when my mom almost lost her cool. Instead of flipping out and yelling at Lisa, she stirred the sugar in her tea and quietly said, "You're not the one who had their entire life ripped away from them, so I don't know what you're so upset about. You're taking my husband away," was all
Technically the other way around, lady.
Lisa could muster. My mom reminded Lisa that she had actually taken her husband away first.
There we go.
She also said that it was extremely upsetting that Lisa got to watch her children grow up a little while she lay unconscious in a hospital bed. That's when Lisa jumped up and spilled hot tea all over my mom. I quickly
I like how everything in the sentence, I just realized in the title, everything in the sentence is capitalized except for the one noun.
sprang into action, as did my brother. I grabbed a towel to help my mom dry off. Luckily, the tea had some milk and sugar in it, so it wasn't scalding, and my brother pulled Lisa away, shoving her out the door while simultaneously screaming for our dad. He ran down the stairs like, "What is it? What's going on?" he asked. We explained what happened, and my dad took off out the door after Lisa. I helped my mom
Divorce,
upstairs, and we got her in the
divorce.
shower to get the tea off of her. Then we heard shouting outside.
There we
My
go.
stepmom and dad were back. All we could hear was Lisa screaming that my dad lied to her, and there was nothing he could do to get her to forgive him. I was hoping she would leave, but she came into the house and shoved herself into the master bedroom right past my mom. I asked Lisa if she could have some respect for my mom who was changing, but she snarled at me and started stuffing a bag full of clothes. "I'm out of here. Don't bother calling me," she said to my dad as she quickly left again. Over the next few days, my dad tried calling her, but she wouldn't
Why? Why would you call her? I don't even know, man.
answer. He tried to get a hold of her sister, parents, and everyone else that would know where she was, but no one would give him any clues.
Makes
He
sense.
was also taking care of my mom, driving her to some appointments and making her food when she was hungry. My brother and I were busy with school, so thankfully, he was able to keep her company. A couple weeks after the crazy incident with Lisa, my brother and I came home to see our parents sitting on the couch together, my mom's feet across my dad's thighs. I couldn't believe
There
the
we
sight.
go.
When we came in the door, the two looked
They're
as if
happy
we caught
again.
them doing something wrong. They blushed and tried to scramble away from each other.
This is happening so fucking fast. Everything. This is 13 minutes.
My brother and I burst out laughing. They were married after all. We didn't mind that they wanted to get closer. It had been almost 15 years since they'd been able to do that. That was the moment we thought that we had our mom back. She was still pretty
There's still
weird
3 minutes in
and
this
didn't
video.
understand how to use technology, but she was smiling more and cracking jokes. Her and I talked a lot more too, and I told her about almost everything that I've done in my life to catch her up. We cried a lot, and I held her while she apologized for not being around. Then things
Not even her
started to
fault.
get strange. She'd wake up very early in the morning and turn on all the burners on the stove. The refrigerator
What?
would be wide open, and the house would smell like gas fumes when we woke up in the morning. The last time that this happened, she was sitting out on the porch while everything in the kitchen was running, including the sink and the microwave. The back door was left open, and I saw her curled in a ball. I walked out of the door and asked her if she was okay. She didn't answer. I sat down next to my mom and put my arm around her. When she looked at me, all I could see was pure terror in her eyes. "Who are you?" she asked and pulled away from me.
She has amnesia.
Confused. "I'm your daughter, Emma." "No, my daughter is a baby. I just had her a couple of months ago. Who are you and why are you in my house?" "Dad?" I called, and it took a few minutes, but he showed up on the doorstep. "Something's wrong with Mom," is all I could say before she grabbed my hair and pulled my head back. She started screaming, "Where is my daughter?" And my dad grabbed her, pulling her arms behind her back. It was then that she snapped out of whatever trance she was in. She started crying and saying, "I'm sorry, Emma." I ran upstairs and locked my door. To say I was terrified would be an understatement. Something was going on with my mom, and we needed to figure it out. My dad called the hospital, and they told him she may have had some memory lapses. But this was way more severe than a slip of the mind. She physically hurt me. And she's a very small woman. There was something else going on.
She's just a little over 4 feet tall.
Trying to keep my distance from her. She apologized to me several times after the incident.
Okay, now you're being the
I was
asshole.
still afraid to get close to her.
She's being the asshole now. I get that, she can have some memory lapses and whatever, but shouldn't she also have been one of the main reasons I think this is fake also is that she should have some lapses about this guy, the son, because he was only 2 years old when she went into the coma, right? That's what they said. So he also looks drastically different. So she should also be, I don't know, strangling him to death too.
My father and brother had no problem accepting her back into the family. They would play board games and watch movies together.
She's just being an
Every time
asshole.
that I would join in, I could tell that a dark mask fell over my mom's face.
Your brother also looks very different.
She would constantly stare at me out of the corner of her eye, and I swear I could see a red glint flash over her normally bright eyes whenever she didn't think I was looking. Then, one night, I woke up to her staring at me from across my bedroom. I popped up in my bed and asked her if she was
That's
okay.
just your sleep paralysis, demon.
Okay, she didn't reply, but I could see her eyes in the darkness. They weren't right. I screamed for my dad again. and
Yeah,
when
they
he
were
came in the
red.
room, He flipped on the light. She wasn't in the chair anymore. We searched
It was just
everywhere
sleep
in the house,
paralysis.
but she wasn't anywhere we could see. That's when we heard the blood-curdling scream. Tune in next time to hear what happened with my mom.
They milked this shit for 2 parts. There we go, down the rabbit hole. I spent a solid 8 minutes there pausing the video and just...
You know that part in a horror movie where you scream at the characters not to go after the monster? That scene where there's a blood-curdling scream and you know someone's about to die if they go after it? Well, that's how I felt.
Why'd the mic quality get so much worse?
It's not some ghost or goblin out there, though. I'm pretty sure it's my mom, who just woke up from a coma. If you're feeling a little lost, you'll want to check out part 1.
Bro, the fucking...
Get to know this video.
My mom sent me a message that was meant for... I stole my hacker's phone. I have been in a coma for years and I could hear everything. I was stuck at 2 in a cabin. I was stuck at 2 in the night in a stranger's cabin. I didn't sleep for 7 days. Something touched me underwater. I found my pictures on my roommate's phone. I was living a lie until I read my BFF's diary. I wish I didn't find my mom's secret. I wish I didn't find my mom's secret door. Bruh. Moms, you're missing a letter. Boyfriend. What the fuck are these titles, man? What is this one? Look at the thumbnail. What is this?
You'll see a ghost the next time you look in the mirror.
Totally.
You do not want to deal with that.
Totally.
You would probably scream at the top of your lungs, which is pretty much where you guys left me last time. That scream.
The transition, though.
I fell down and was shaking. My dad and brother went up and decided to go and investigate the screams. I was too scared, so they told me to stay back and wait for them to come home. I sat there under my covers.
She's 14 and he's 16, right?
I know it's weird, but I actually felt the urge to call Lisa. even though it was time.
Everyone in this story is dumb as bricks.
I saw her was pretty dramatic. I really missed her. When I thought about getting scared and running into my mom's arms,
Yeah, that are rude as fuck.
I was surprised when she actually looked up. I told her how scared and horrifying it was.
She's gonna
I
pin
wished
it
I could see
against.
the monster, and I could not calm down.
What is
Until
she?
I heard some noises
You just
coming
have trauma.
My dad and brother must be back. I'll hope I can see you soon. You will, she told me. She asked me to keep our conversation secret, and I agreed. I rushed out of my bed downstairs so that I didn't have to be by myself. But to my horror, I was completely alone. The lights were all turned off. This was scarier than sitting in my bed.
You went from being just dumb to now extremely dumb. Now they're just trying to make it into a horror movie.
I walked towards our lamp to try to brighten up the place. I turned on the light and walked over to
And my mom was standing there.
Something reached out under the couch and
Oh my
grabbed me
fucking
and
god.
threw me to the ground. I looked around and saw that it was my mom. I screamed at the top of my lungs and kicked her in the face a few times. She hissed and covered my eyes, and I ran as fast as I could towards the door. You know that
I'm sorry. This is not just memory lapse. They tried to pin this on memory lapse?
Tom and Jerry? Well, I felt like a little
Old
girl
TV show?
chased around by a giant gray cat. I probably would have found it.
They specifically had to mention. She doesn't know which one's Tom and Jerry. I just want to point that out in case you're wondering. This is my boy Tom. This is my boy Jerry. But she specifically didn't know which one was which I found hilarious.
Funny if I wasn't so busy running for my life. Did you know a cheetah can run over?
Oh my god!
Well,
Yes!
felt like my mom was about to break a world record. Even though I got a head start and my mom was weak, my mom caught up with me in a matter of seconds and pinned me down to the ground. I was about to die.
The average human can run at like 15 miles per hour. I think the fastest human, Usain Bolt, ran at like 28, but my god.
My dad and brother rushed to the scene and pulled her off.
Honestly, at this point, just stab her.
To call the ambulance, while he and my brother held her back. With tears in their eyes, they handed her over to the medical professionals who took her away to the psychiatric hospital. My mom was begging to stay, promising that
She's crazy.
But my dad and brother had witnessed it. My father went to the hospital with her, and my brother just sat there and glared at me.
Oh my god! He's still blaming it on her. Oh my.
He was literally trying to kill me. How was I still the bad guy here? My brother ran to his room without even saying goodnight, and my dad.
Your brother was like the most sane person until that.
Tossed and turned all night. Every time I shut my eyes, I saw her staring back at me with an evil look in her eyes. I got up to go to the bathroom and overheard my dad and brother fighting about mom being in the hospital. My suspicions were confirmed. This is all Emma's fault.
It was her fault for being born, and not the fact that the mom didn't get an abortion. God.
Brother screamed. We just got mom back, and now she has to send her back to the hospital all over again? I wanted to jump out and scream, but I just couldn't.
It's mental health, bitch. Mental illnesses.
He was a little right.
No, he's not.
I fell into my pillow.
He's not right. He's wrong.
Because he was knocking on the door seconds later, but I didn't.
Yeah, I
want
mean, I
to
feel like
wake up.
closing your
I was a complete wreck and ignored all of
closing
my
your door,
friends and family.
Jenny.
I barely ate meals. My brother tried to apologize with gifts, and my grandmother didn't
I'm sorry. Gifts are not a good way to apologize. I mean, they are if they're sincere. But like, just an apology and a hug is usually good enough.
go out to my favorite stores. Nothing made the darkness end.
Just giving them money isn't a good way to say sorry, especially for saying that your mom's mental illnesses from being in a coma are your sister's fault because she was born. Talk about fucked up.
Decided to go away. I know that they say time heals all wounds,
No,
but it didn't for me. Every day that I
it
stayed
doesn't.
I just got a little worse.
Either time heals wounds or time rips them open. Either one.
Dreams were even evolving with my horrible state, even though my mom was far.
I think you need. I feel like at this point, the father should have been like, okay, this is enough, and went to a therapist. Took her to a therapist. That would have been what I would have done.
I was just becoming more afraid of her. She was starting to take over me. I hate to admit it, but I wish she never woke up. The only thing that made me feel anything was talking to Lisa.
I just want to point out, real quick, these videos are 12 minutes long each. Well, one was 13 minutes, one was 12. So this recording should be only 25 minutes. I've now over doubled the length. I've been sitting here for a solid 30 minutes. Yep.
She even secretly came by when my dad and brother weren't home. I never asked how she knew I was home alone, but maybe I should have. One day in particular,
She's a stalker.
she came. My dad and brother knocked at my door a couple of weeks after this all happened. He told me that my mom was healthy enough to see people, and even doing quite better. She really wanted to see me, and it would mean a lot if we could all go there as a family. I promised Lisa I would go with them the first day my mom could receive visitors, but I wasn't feeling ready yet. I scoffed and brought up that he and my brother should go alone since that was the only family she wanted. They explained that they were going today no matter what, but I could process it all in my own time.
Fuck, I dropped my pen.
Only in a couple of hours, and he was leaving some money for takeout on the counter.
This is the one time where I agree with the dad. Don't force her to go. The only good thing this dad has done.
Seeing my psychotic mother didn't appeal to me, but ordering a giant pizza to wash my sorrows away, that was my plan for the next few hours.
That might have been the most depressing shit I've ever heard.
I started walking down the stairs, but froze when I heard a click. This was way too early for them to come home, and I was pretty sure
Lisa.
on anything. Part of me
Lisa. Who the
someone broken out of the hospital to attack me. I ducked behind
Mhm.
the couch as fast as I could and peeked behind it slowly.
Who'd you think?
To see that a person had come in with a dark hoodie, sunglasses.
Oh, it's Lisa. Dumbass.
Recognized it as Lisa.
Yeah.
Why was she being so secretive? I was about to go and greet her.
As if this story couldn't get more.
Yeah, I got in. Are you sure about this? Yeah, I'm completely
We're going like full spy shit on this now. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
alone. She is receiving visitors today. She? I thought to myself.
Your mom.
Yes, she met my mom.
Yeah, dumbass. Yes. She's the spy. Also, she would have totally known you.
I decided to jump out and demand the woman leave at once. I startled her, knocking her sunglasses to the ground and things out of her hands. My suspicions were correct. Lisa? She explained that she
Just-
knew I was at home.
Just wearing sunglasses is not enough to cover your identity. Want to point that out.
I was just picking up stuff that she had to leave behind. I looked at the ground to see what she was picking up. I reached onto the floor and picked up a little
Medication.
bottle and a bunch of loose pills. Your stuff, huh? I asked. Are you poisoning my mom? I told her I knew she was.
What? The first thing you should have done was picked up the pill bottle and read what was on it. If it had her name on it with like prescription drugs, then sure, fine. Maybe, actually. If you've never seen those before, then yeah. But poison, really? This is
Bad, but a murderer? She shook her hands and said she could explain everything. Not poison.
explain, bitch.
I was helping her. I asked what kind of help she was giving. She said it
Read
was
the
her
bottle.
true self. She told me
Read
that
the
she knew
bottle.
my mom back before all of this happened.
God. Yeah, we actually knew each other. Bitch. That'd be important to, you feel. I know that the mother just came out of a coma, but you think she would have recognized her? Just saying,
And she was not the kind and wonderful woman she wanted us all to believe. Lisa didn't want to lose her family to such a monster. So, she started to sneak in and add some of these special pills to her medicine bottle. All this time, she had been living in a shed out in the woods. Coincidentally, it was her that screamed in the middle of the night, but only because a raccoon ran into her when she
What am I listening to?
was coming back from breaking into her
Still,
home.
want to point out, mom is not capitalized. The one
Since right around this time,
overdosing.
she seemed to hate me. I told her that it couldn't be true. How my mom had been so sweet and caring until all of that happened. The pills, they made her evil. No, you're wrong. See, these pills are just helping her be more open. She hates you. She wants you dead. Those
Yep.
her true feelings. These pills only lower inhibition. She said it was better her true colors show now than in a couple of years.
She said it was better.
His response. I yelled at her and accused her of making it up because she was hurt that my dad left someone else.
I just want to point out.
I didn't believe that. At least
I just want to point out. She literally just played the truth pill. If you feed these pills to someone, they will only tell the truth. They will only act how they normally act.
it made sense.
Makes no sense.
Me too if I were my mom. Everyone.
Oh my god! The dad! The dad really blamed. Who does that? It's not her fault.
Blame me for what happened. I cried.
Medical issues. That's what caused it. God. Your own mother wished you were never born.
I want to do. Think about how great we had it. You have to admit that things were a lot better before your mom woke up. She placed her hand on my shoulder and took out her wallet. She had a picture of me and her from our last vacation. Don't you miss this? She asked. She may have given birth to you, but I am the closest thing you ever had to a mom. Just stop it!
Damn.
Dropping to the floor.
That's awful.
So guilty even thinking about it. But she was kind of right. Even if my mom wasn't on these pills, she would always secretly hate me.
Could we just...
Sam, on the other hand, had proven time and time again that she loved me.
There are so many loopholes in this story, man.
Slipped past me. She handed me a piece of paper with her new number and told me to keep it away from my dad and brother. She then
Then how the hell were you contacting her before? You have a new number. Apparently, you knew she was coming over. You said that in this video. And yet, she would randomly come over and steal things. You knew, apparently, and she knew, and she went to come see you, and yet you're...
promised me that she would never be back and would never tell me about the pills ever again. But she would leave. I should give her.
My phone just fell out of my pocket.
She had a plan to get our family back together, but it needed both of us. I needed to decide the mother I wanted, the one who actually raised me, or the stranger who
She didn't raise you, your father did.
gave birth to me.
You've only known her for 3 fucking years.
I went to flush
4
the
years.
kitchen toilet, but something stopped me. I decided to put my mom's bottle back as it was and bring the bag of pills to my room.
Is there such thing as, like, truth-seeking pills? Nope. These don't exist. She doesn't have bipolar disorder. And the only thing that happens is the placebo effect. Yeah, no, this... It's all fake. I didn't deny it.
Suddenly, my thoughts were interrupted by a click at the door. My dad and brother were.
Can we talk about everyone?
But instead of telling me about this immediately, ran to greet them. They seemed, well, pretty happy. They expected
Everyone
my mom would come
is
back
committing
soon,
crimes.
maybe even a week or two if we're lucky. I know I should have been happy, but this just sent me into tears. I ran into my room and locked the door.
Again.
What if she would try to kill me again? Or worse,
Again.
what if she pretended everything was okay, but secretly hated me? I tried to collect myself.
That's a fair point. That would really suck. I mean, it's really like the main not really factor, the main symptom, I guess you could say, of like depression. I know this is a weird thing to tie it into, but like one of the main things is thinking everyone hates you when they actually don't. You know what I mean?
And went out and told my dad and brother that they were just happy tears. What if she pretended everything was okay?
How long were you in that room and how long were they standing there?
I tried to collect myself and went out and told my dad and brother that they were just happy tears. I was overwhelmed. I insisted I was okay and understood, but deep down, I was pretty scared. I decided that I was just going to forget it all ever happened, to toss the pills, and forget Lisa ever happened. At least until that night happened. See, I had so many nightmares. Every time I closed my eyes, there were new terrible twists of horror. All of them involving my mom as a monster saying she hated me, and Lisa being washed out to sea. After waking up every
The
20
fuck?
minutes for a couple hours, I decided to go get myself a glass of water. That's when I heard my dad crying. I peeked around the corner to see him sitting there in the kitchen, sobbing to himself while looking at a piece of paper. I walked
It's a
over
photo of
to make
Lisa.
sure he was okay, and he quickly shoved the paper into the drawer, and I pretended not to notice. He just told me he was feeling overwhelmed right now. Everything had been a big adjustment for him. I asked him why he wasn't happy about mom coming home. He said he was super excited. It was just adult stuff, and it was complicated. He left and said he was going
Fuck
to
my
bed,
pen.
giving me a kiss on the forehead and telling me he loved me.
Does he? He doesn't really seem to care.
Etched in the back of the forks and spoons was a picture of Lisa. He had been crying over her. He wasn't over her. It sounds harsh, but my mom kind of ruined everything when she woke up. I was so conflicted, but at the same time, I think this sealed the deal. All I ever wanted was my mom back in my life.
I don't like that image.
Kind of ruined everything when she woke up. I was so conflicted, but at the same time, I think this sealed the deal.
You could have chose a much better way to interpret this than this.
All I ever wanted was my mom back in my life, but she really just hates me. With these pills, I could probably keep her out of my life forever. I don't know if I should tell anyone about Lisa's visit. When I got back to my room, I dug up that little paper Lisa gave me and sent the number a text. We need to talk. Tune in next time to hear what happened.
There's a part 3. No, they didn't make a part 3. This was made 3 years ago. I am just so confused. But you know what? That's one of them. Yippee. Yay. What? I got trapped in with my boyfriend and girlfriend. This letter. It looks weird, doesn't it? Is that just my screen? Nope, that's like a weird looking L. Oh, I know, it's an I with a period. Any of these videos look interesting? Oh. What? We're gonna watch both these. And well, then I'll be done. Then I'll be done watching these weird ass. At least put proper grammar in your fucking titles. This is no way this is based on true events.
I woke up, the pain hit me like a ton of bricks. For a moment, I didn't know where I was or who I was. There was just the terrible...
Before we continue, actually, real quick, I just want to point out, to watch those two 12-minute videos, well, 13, 12 minutes, or 2 and 25 minutes, it is currently 42 minutes into the recording. I am fucked. My storage space is going bye-bye.
Throbbing agony in the back of my head. There was also an unbearable stench of bleach. Suddenly, a little voice whispered in my ear, "Good morning, Mama." My eyes flew open and I turned in bed. There was a pretty little girl with blue eyes and blonde hair looking expectantly at me. She must have seen the confusion on my face. "It's me, Mama," she cried happily. "It's Hannah." I was shocked and I sat up, fighting the blinding headache, but something was holding my leg down and I heard the clink of steel on steel. When
How?
I looked over, I saw a cuff around my foot.
Where? Where did she get this? How did she do this?
pinning me up to the bed frame. I looked around.
Maybe
the
we'll
room.
figure it out.
I didn't even know where I was. When my hair swung in front of my face, I gasped. My brown hair was blonde now. I
Oh my
panicked,
god.
turned again
So
to
it
the
wasn't even
stranger
like
who
they
was
looked
calling me her
the
mother.
same.
But now I realized she wasn't a stranger. I recognized her little face. She was my boyfriend's daughter.
Huh? What?
Whoa, that's intense. Do you think I'm just having a nightmare? Before I continue, please
I think you're delusional.
click the like and subscribe button.
This is why.
Below. Hi, my name is Helen. This is the story of the craziest and creepiest month of my life. What's going on? I asked in a panic. Where's Hank? Dad's just fixing something, Hannah replied happily. Then she
So-
waved her small hand to point at something on the wall behind me. Look, Mama, she added, and I gasped. All over the wall were pictures that Hank took of me while we were dating. Hannah had drawn blonde hair cutouts and pasted them on my head to hide my brown hair. To my surprise, there were pictures of Hannah, too, and they were pasted on top of mine. There were notes everywhere saying, my mom and me. In the middle of it all, there was a big picture
I
of me
could
and
get-
Hank, who looked big and muscular. He
Needed to add that part. Anyway, I could get a child wanting to have a mother. But this is not a child's work. I am sorry. A child is not this delusional. She can tell. She 100% can tell that this is not her mother. One, there's no way in hell that they could have made a blonde child. I mean, maybe they could have recessive genes or whatever. I don't know. Two, are Hank's eyes blue? I don't know. There's just it's
had a goofy smile
way
on
too
his face.
far-fetched.
There was something scribbled on top. It read, I love my family.
That's basic Arial font. That is just Arial font, man.
I was getting goosebumps on my arm. Nothing was making sense. What kind of sick joke was this? I was fighting the rising panic in my chest. I thought of my 2-year-old son Marcus, who I had left with my mother last night. I had to get out of here. I had to get home. But I was chained to the bed like a trapped animal. Do you know how to get this thing off? I asked her, pointing to the cuff around my foot.
Why are we in a different
Pinched
room?
my hair. But Hannah's attention was elsewhere.
Why are we in a different room?
She grabbed her toys and laid them between us on the bed. Let's play, she told me excitedly. I tried to clear my head despite
Just want to point out,
while Hannah
she's been alive for 7 years, and
tried to
she,
remember how I got to this position. I remember meeting Hannah for
You
the
know.
first time last night at dinner. We had a wonderful time. I could see Hank's proud face in my mind, beaming proudly when I said that his daughter seemed like a gifted 7-year-old. Hannah even kissed me on the cheek before she went to bed. Last night you asked permission if you could still watch TV and write in your diary before going to bed, I said out loud to Hannah. She smiled sweetly at me. Yes, I have to write in my diary every day. I walked from the kitchen to the living room. Your father was laughing, then I heard a thud, I added, trying to make sense of it all. Then something hit me really hard on the head. I tried to remember more, but I was drawing a big blank. Hannah suddenly laughed. Did you have a bad dream, Mama? She asked innocently. I felt like I was still dreaming, but the cold touch of steel around my foot, I knew
I think you might just be schizophrenic.
I wasn't asleep anymore. This was all real. Hannah, I asked as calmly as I could, where is your father? Can you go and get him? But Hannah just shook her head. I don't think that Daddy is going to spend time with us today, she answered with a touch of annoyance. Please play with me. She looked at me with her piercing big blue eyes. I realized that until
This is
he
just
arrived,
a horror
I didn't
game.
get any answers. Meanwhile, Hannah
does have
was
blue
playing
eyes.
with the makeup she found
Okay.
in my bag. Do you think I'm pretty, Mom? Asked Hannah. My heart went out to her. The poor little thing, she had no idea that her father was crazy.
Based off what I'm hearing, the father did not knock her out. Whatever.
I wondered about the night before. Something or someone hit me really hard on the head.
Something, yes.
I
A
heard
bear
thud
crawled
from
into the
kitchen
window.
before something hit me. If Hank was in the kitchen, how did he get to the living room so fast? After a while, Hannah
Told
complained that
you.
she was hungry. She asked if I could make her some food. Daddy showed me how to remove it from the bed.
Oh,
she
so it is
explained while
Hank.
pointing at the cuff. She wiggled
Another
under
loophole.
the bed, twisting the chain. A few moments later, she showed me that the chain wasn't attached to the bed anymore. Now it was connected to a big metal ball.
Oh my
Anger
God.
flared up inside me again. What kind of sick father would teach his daughter to work a ball and chain? But aside from anger, I was starting to get scared. What else was Hank capable of doing to me? Somehow I managed to drag that ball out to the kitchen so I could make Hannah a snack.
How did you even
I
get
asked her
this?
for help again if she knew how to remove the ball completely. I explained that I had to go home. My son was waiting for me. Please don't leave me, Hannah begged, and she began to cry. Don't leave me alone here. I'm scared. But I was more worried about myself than Hannah at that point. I dragged the ball to the front door and realized that it was locked from the outside. I tried the windows. They were locked too. Feeling
You have a big heavy ball. Break that shit with the ball. Break the window with the ball. You're scot-free.
furious and frustrated, I even tried to break the glass, but it wouldn't break. My cell phone was gone and I didn't see a phone anywhere. I started to pound on the glass and I was screaming to the people I could see outside. But
Kidnappings do
nobody turned
happen,
my way.
but
I came to a
this
realization
isn't
that
a
chilled me
thing.
to the bone. There was no way out and no one to call for help.
This probably has
That's
happened,
when I
like,
started to
once,
cry.
but, like,
Hannah ran to me
not
and
like
hugged me
this.
tight. I didn't see Hank at all that day, but there was a constant thumping sound coming from the attic. The next morning, I finally saw
fuck?
Hank. He and Hannah came into the room carrying a tray for breakfast. "Can I share your breakfast, Mom?" Hannah said, jumping into the bed. I looked angrily at Hank and I demanded that he release me, but he never said a word. I grabbed his hand.
Yeah,
"What
he's
kind
just
of
a
sick
puppet
joke
in
is
this.
I cried out.
I think
I
he's just a
started to
puppet in
shout,
this.
But Hannah covered her ears. "Please don't fight," she said, and she started to cry. Hank looked me straight in the eyes. I was shocked with what I saw. His eyes looked dull and full of sadness.
He is just a puppet.
He said before leaving. "This is for the best, Hannah." I spent the next few days chained to that bed. Hannah was my constant companion. My heart was bleeding for this poor little girl. She seemed so starved for a mother's
She's an
love and
alien.
affection. Everything she made, she showed to me with such hope and excitement on her face. She talked constantly about the new things she learned, like the animals in Australia. I hated Hank for keeping
You couldn't just put a PNG of Australia. In fact, you made it into 5 separate islands, and you put African animals. In case you didn't know, zebras, elephants, lions are not in Australia. They are in Africa. They're dumb.
locked up like this. And while I was afraid of him too,
And
he was a totally different
could
person
just-
from the man
just
I thought
say
I was
spiders.
falling in love with. He was sullen and withdrawn. He never even
Who were
looked
you
me in the
dating?
eyes anymore.
Where did the 2-year-old come from?
The days went on. I had to fight the urge to cry and panic when I thought about Marcus. I needed to find
Who's
out
his father?
so I could get to my son.
Who is his
So I
father?
formulated a plan. I knew I wasn't strong enough to go against Hank physically. I hoped that the only reason why I was still chained up was because Hank was afraid that I would run. I had to prove that I wasn't planning on going anywhere. So I gave in to Hannah's hugs and cuddles while waiting for my chance. I made her laugh. I played with her. I made her little treats in the kitchen. I worked on the perfect mother persona for weeks. I even scolded her a bit for watching those reality TV shows that were way too mature for her. Finally, my plan was working.
And I'm watching
Hannah
something that's
started to
killing my
annoy me.
brain
I couldn't
cells.
properly play with her if I was always dragging that ball around. She begged her dad to remove it, and he did. A few more days passed. Holding and hugging Hannah almost became second nature by now. She was an easy child to love, and I pitied her more than I could say. She couldn't leave
Take
the
her with
house.
you.
She didn't even go to school anymore. One night, she came to my room to tell me about her reality show. She said the people in her show went to a restaurant near their house. "Please, can we go?" she begged Hank. Hank gave her a questioning look and pointed to me. "Please, Daddy," she said again. "Mom loves me now." I brushed the top of her head lightly, a gesture of affection. Hank finally gave in. "Remember to behave, Helen," he told me by the front door. "No funny business." I nodded, and it was the first time I saw
Kidnap the
outside
child.
world in ages. We got into the car and drove to the restaurant. Hannah was practically jumping in her seat in her excitement. She kept cuddling next to me, saying that she had the best family in the world. When it was time to pay the check, I stood up and excused myself. "I have to use
Use
the
the
ladies'
restroom?
room," I replied. And to stop the suspicion forming in Hank's eyes, I asked Hannah to come along. The little girl grabbed my hand and went. I led Hannah to a stall, and I went to the one next to it. As much as I wanted to take care of Hannah, I needed to leave her father. I needed to escape. So before I left the bathroom stall, I quickly got my lipstick and smeared a message on the door. It was my only chance to get some help. I didn't have an address or a phone number, but I knew the plate number of Hank's car. When we were walking back to the car, we heard shouting coming from the restaurant. My deliverance came in the form of waiters and waitresses running to my rescue. Somebody had seen my note. I was saved. The police arrived soon after. They handcuffed Hank in front of me. I finally got my vengeance. Now it was going to be his turn to feel how terrible it is to be locked up. Hannah was crying the whole time. I took her in my arms. "Please don't let them take my daddy away," she cried to me. I tried to comfort her as much as I could. The poor little girl was being traumatized again. But the cops also took Hannah away. She was being sent to a social worker. As much as it hurt to let her go, my arms were craving to hold my son again. I finally went home, and my life gradually went back to normal, despite meeting with the police all the time. I told them about the night I fell unconscious. They assumed that Hank must have run to the living room the moment that his daughter left. They said that it was an open and shut case about a man who was obsessed with finding a mother for his child. I tried
Little
to stop
girl.
thinking about it. Besides,
Little
I wanted
girl.
to make up for all the time I'd lost with
Oh
Marcus.
my God, there's still
I hugged him as tightly
4
as I
minutes in
could,
this video.
feeling that I would never let anything bad ever happen to my son. I would do anything for him. But something kept bugging me about the whole ordeal. As much as I hated and feared Hank, I couldn't
Why does it look
shake
like
off
you're in a
the feeling
hospital?
that there was still some stone left unturned. I also felt guilty about Hannah, so I went to visit her, just to see her one last time. She sobbed when she saw me and she held out her little arms. "Did you come to take me home, Mom?" she asked with so much hope and heartbreak. "I'm sorry, baby," I whispered to her. "I can't be your real mother." I felt so sad. There was no way I could get Hannah. I felt so
Is your
bad
hair
for
not
her.
gone back to normal
She
yet,
was
by the
just
way?
a little girl. But the moment I said that, her face changed. Gone was the angelic face I had known. She snarled like an animal. "I thought you were different," she said with a sudden raspy voice. "But you're not any better than them." Poor Hannah thought I was abandoning her. In her anger, Hannah
I was gonna say, how many fucking moms has she had?
She flung it at me and it fell on the floor. I bent down to pick it up. Meanwhile, Hannah was flinging curses at me. Awful words
She's
that no
7!
7-year-old should or could know. I thought it was because of all the reality shows that she watched, but then I saw the drawings. I flipped through the pages of that diary. There were
And I
drawings of different
fucking
girls,
knew
all
it.
with blonde hair and blue eyes. There were notes on each page stating their names along with the good and bad things about them. There
Bad,
were
selfish,
dates,
hot-tempered.
too. The first entry
A
was
temor-
dated 10 years.
What is that word? Temerid. I'm going to look this word up right now, because I can guarantee you that is not a real word. I am 90% sure they meant to spell... Yeah, no, they meant to spell tempered. Tempered. She has a hot temper.
Years ago. What is this? I gasped. By now, I had noticed my own face, perfectly drawn near the last page of the diary. "Give that back," Hannah growled. I was trembling from head to toe, but I didn't give it back to her.
What happened to the
I
other
knew I
women?
was holding the most important piece of evidence in my own kidnapping case. Things were starting to make sense now. Hank wasn't acting alone. "What did you use to hit me on the head?" I asked in
The
horror.
diary.
"I threw a boomerang at you," she replied.
Boomerang. Couldn't think of anything else like a vase or a baseball bat. No, the one thing that every American family has lying around their home, a boomerang.
Right after I shot a dart at my dad because he said
Where is this 7-year-old getting this shit? She has poison darts now?
he was tired of playing my game. When he finally woke up, he begged me not to hurt you. But he loves me, and he always does what I say. He's been doing it for years. Years, I repeated. How could that be? Hannah was only 7. How old are you, Hannah? I asked as calmly as I could, but my heart
23.
was painfully in my chest. "You're smarter than I thought," she spat back at me. "I may look like a young girl, but I'm really 18 years old. Not
Really, just the eagle age, the eagle age, the legal age of an adult.
much younger than you." "How?" I whispered back. "I stopped aging a long time ago. I'm trapped in this child's body, but I can't do anything without somebody."
There is a thing where people don't age, yes. But, like, I don't think it looks like that, doesn't it? Or grow. Apparently she still looked and was the height of a 10. Benjamin Button disease. See? There's a difference. There's a difference. There's no... Oh, this... There's No physical one where they, like, you know, don't age.
Who actually looks like an adult, and I just want a normal life with a normal family. You can feel sorry for me all you want, but I'll find a way to get a
Is he
real
really your
family.
daughter?
It doesn't
Is it
have
really
to be
Hank's
you.
daughter?
It doesn't have to be any one of you. Hannah's demeanor was scaring me.
She's
more
gonna
than
die
being locked
eventually.
up in a house.
You think she'd have a birth certificate, by the way, to prove that she's legally 10 years old? Not even 10, 7.
What do you mean, any one of you? Who are these women? I asked again, pointing to the pictures in her diary. Then Hannah's face changed some more. She looked feral, evil, and nothing like a child. Those are my other mothers, she said with a little smug smile. Do you think you were the first?
I just don't know how an 18-year-old could even put up a straight face while acting like that.
The mothers that failed to meet my expectations are all buried in the basement.
Oh, and that's it. That's fucking it. What are these? I wore a wire and got in so much trouble. Yeah, because wearing a wire is so bad. My missing best friend forever showed up 1 year after, and she blames me. I got abducted by a billionaire. I changed my gender to become a billionaire. I bought the school and became a teacher in 7th grade. Someone is kidnapping everyone I know. TikTok can destroy my life. Swimming in a dirty pool is changing me. I have 10 moms. My mom never protected me, and I just found out why. What are these? I followed my crush to the basement instantly. Oh, why? No, I should have used the fucking. Oh my god, I should have. I should have used the fucking. I should have logged out of my account. I should have logged out of my account.
I was running through the rain trying to get home as quickly as possible when I noticed my crush James walking onto the school grounds. I didn't want him to see me like this. I was soaked to the bone, looking like a drowned rat. But I had to know what he was up to. What if he was breaking into the school? I decided to follow him. And at
That's
one
just
point,
stalking.
I swear he turned around and looked right at me. I didn't know if I was
You're the one committing the crime here, lady. Stalking? Bad crime.
seeing things, but it even looked like he smiled at me. Wait, did he?
Then he's a
want to follow
sociopath.
me?
No.
Suddenly, I felt brave. I was going to tell him how I felt. The moment I'd waited for my whole life had arrived. But then I saw him climbing into the tornado shelter, and that should have been my first warning not to keep following him, because things were about to get super weird. Before I unleashed my
If you say like and subscribe, I'm gonna kill you.
crazy story onto you, click like and
If you guys haven't watched any of my content before, you know I don't do this. I hate this, in fact. I hate when everyone's like, hey, like and subscribe. I just don't like it. Anytime I will say it, it's at the end of a video. Because I'm like, okay, now they got a taste for my content. Now they can decide whether they want to like and subscribe. So, yeah. At one point, I fucking hate this. I've watched 4 of these videos now.
subscribe to stay up to date with all the madness that My Story Animated has in store for you. Okay, so there
I hate
was,
that she's still
climbing up
talking
the
like she's
tornado
a
shelter
real
after my
person. I'm
crush,
making air quotes, by the way.
Absolutely no plan of what I'd do next. I was acting purely on impulse, and it felt amazing. I felt sure he knew I'd climbed in after him, but I couldn't see anything, so I used the flashlight on my phone and realized he'd already gone down the stairs. The rain was really pouring now.
This is
so
also
I
just
closed
breaking
the
and
gate.
entering.
The last thing I wanted was to flood the shelter. Not on a special night like
Ow,
tonight.
fuck, I just hurt
I'd
myself with my
never been
pen.
this close to James before. Just the two of us alone. Except
Just
we
the
weren't
two
alone.
of us.
As soon as I closed
We
the
can
lid,
make
I
it
heard a
if we
girl's voice.
try, just the
No!
two
I
of
started
us.
panicking and decided this had been a stupid idea. I pushed the lid to climb back out, but it wouldn't open. No matter how hard I
Oh,
pushed
what do you know? It
Fudge.
wouldn't
Oh my
open.
gosh, I was stuck. If it had just been me and James down there, it would have been quite exciting. But suddenly I heard a kissing sound and I realized my worst nightmare had just come true. I was stuck in a tornado shelter with my crush and his girlfriend by the sounds of things. I didn't want them to know I was there, like some creepy stalkers, so I tried to keep as quiet as possible.
The first thing I would have done in this situation, if I somehow was dumb enough to get into this situation, was text someone to come and get me.
I could hear the
Also, did they not hear the shelter close?
them laughing, and then the girl said, "Did anyone see you come in here? I hope we didn't get caught." And James replied,
Oh, you got caught.
"No, I don't think so. Oh no, wait. There was a girl from my school, but she wouldn't say anything. She's such a loser." At that,
This is such a loser. That's such a movie thing to say. You're not in a goddamn movie.
I had to cover my face. I wanted to cry. It felt like he'd shoved a knife through my heart. And then I felt angry. I had to get out of there. This was literally the most embarrassing situation to ever be in. And what would my parents think when they found out? I gave the lid one final push, but I pushed too hard. The next moment, I lost my footing and was rolling down the stairs. I landed with a thump and blacked out for a second. When I opened my eyes, James and his girlfriend were standing over me. They didn't even ask me if I was okay. James just looked down at me and said, "Did you follow me here? What are you playing at?" Then he turned.
This is the only time I'm ever going to say this while recording this. Both have valid points. 1, he should have asked, "Hey, are you okay?" 2, he was right for saying, "Why the hell did you follow me?" First say, "Hey, oh, you're right," and then when she says she's alright, then you can scold her.
Turned to his girlfriend and said, "Come on, babe, let's bounce." Then they just left me lying there and headed up the stairs.
Come on, babe, let's bounce.
I was about to tell them that we were trapped down there, but they'd soon discover it for themselves. I could hear James bashing on the lid of the shelter.
Text
Obviously, it
someone.
wouldn't open.
Text
Then he shouted
someone.
down to me and asked
Call
if I thought this-
someone.
And if I thought it was funny. No, James, I did not find this funny. I wanted to shout up at him. Gosh, what would he say if he knew how much I wished I were his girlfriend and not that dumb blonde girl? Then he started shouting about how he had to get out ASAP because the next day was his big football game that was going to guarantee him a scholarship to a
You
top
have
college.
phones.
He said he had to get it, otherwise he'd be stuck in this stupid town forever. Oh no, this was a
This is just
disaster,
a movie
and it was
plot.
only just the beginning. I sat up and looked around with my flashlight.
How the hell is this one the
and
longest
realized
one?
There was literally nothing down there except for some sandbags and an old scratchy blanket that looked like 1,000 bugs might be living in it.
That's 'cause it's
Then
a
I
torn-
realized
fucking
I was
tornado bunker.
shivering, like properly freezing cold. My phone was on 10%. Not that it
Use that
mattered.
10% to
There was
call anyone.
absolutely no signal down there anyway. I didn't even have a bottle of
I
water
feel like
with
there
me, and
should
by
be.
the looks of things, James and his girlfriend had nothing either. Oh man. I held my breath as they came down the stairs. I was so scared of what they'd say to me. They were arguing, and James's girlfriend came right up to me and said, "This is all your fault. You've
They're really just not rational people, aren't they? Do you think some girl would just purposely lock herself down there with you two and then not know how to get out?
ruined everything." Truly, that felt like the most awkward moment of my entire life. James told her to try and calm down.
Never
and
mind,
her
there's a
name
rational
was
purpose.
Amy. She must have gone to another school because I'd never seen her before. Neither of them had signal either, and soon they started screaming for help. I didn't want to tell them it was pointless. The rain was so loud, no one would hear us even if they were right above us. Eventually, I told them I was sorry, even though it wasn't my fault. I lied and told them I'd been trying to shelter from the rain because I'd forgotten my umbrella, but Amy didn't buy it. She said, "Yeah, right. You're clearly a stalker. Do you get kicks out of watching other people making out or something?" James said you're a loser, and he wasn't joking. Look at you. If I hadn't already been on the ground, I'd have asked the ground to swallow me.
I'm going
So
insane.
before. After that,
This is only the
it was
first
really
one, man.
uncomfortable, and all of us
I have 3 brain rots to look through, and this is only the first.
boys were in a bad mood. Soon it became obvious we'd all have to spend the night down there. So I found a corner as far away from Amy as possible and lay down. I was still shivering and
I wouldn't
thought
even
about
lay
using
down on
the
that mattress.
insect-infested blanket, but Amy had already grabbed it. There was no way I'd fall asleep. I was so thirsty, and even though the shelter luckily had a small toilet, there was no sink, which meant no running water. I'd have drunk the rain earlier if I knew this was going to happen. I covered my ears
Didn't
because
have
I
to
was
piss.
afraid I'd hear them kissing, and eventually I must have fallen asleep because the next moment I found myself waking up to hearing a rustling sound. I looked over at Amy, and even though I couldn't see anything,
She's
I knew
eating.
she was eating something. I
She's
could
eating
hear
him.
her. I couldn't believe she had food with her and wasn't sharing it. Did James know? I should have said something.
She's eating
but I
James.
was too scared. I'd already caused enough
She's eating
trouble.
James. What are the odds
Finally,
she's eating
morning
James?
came, and by then my phone was at 2%. Soon I wouldn't even
She is the creepy one. She has a picture of him as his background.
know what time it was. I was bursting for the toilet, so I went to use it, and of course, Amy shouted at me and said my peeing was too loud and had woken her up. Then I noticed there was a light switch outside the toilet.
Then you
clicked
noticed
on
there
it,
was a lack
not
of
expecting
James
it to
being
work,
there.
and suddenly the whole shelter was flooded with light. Amy quickly pulled the blanket up and told me to look away. Oh my gosh, were they not wearing clothes? Then Amy just laughed and said everyone knows that body heat is the best way to survive.
She
in
didn't
cold
eat
weather.
James.
Ew! Once they got dressed, I realized how pretty Amy
Amy's right. Also, where did they get extra pairs of clothes? Oh wait, no, they just put back on too. But she's right. Amy is right.
was.
Body heat is a good, really good way to stay warm.
How could I have thought James would ever be interested in someone like me when he had Amy? I ran up the stairs and tried to push the lid again, but then I just sat there waiting for people to arrive at school. Then I'd scream my head off. Plus, I didn't want them to look at me. I felt so insecure about my running clothes, and I hadn't even shaved my legs. I didn't want James noticing. I could hear the school bell and feet walking over us, but no one heard me scream. How long would we be down here?
Bang on the
I was
door.
complaining about being hungry and Amy too, but I knew Amy had eaten something in the night. She was a liar. We started looking
A liar.
around the place to see if we could find anything, and James suddenly sounded happy. Under the sandbags, he'd found some old bottles of water.
Read the expiration date on the bottle. You're gonna give yourself cancer if you drink out of that shit.
The water looked disgusting.
Don't
I
drink
hadn't
it.
drunk anything
Don't
yet.
drink it.
Well,
Don't
James
drink
and
it.
I downed like a liter each, but Amy refused. Suit yourself. I
You realize
thought.
how much a
Then
liter
about
is,
an hour
right?
later, I started getting a weird pain in my stomach. Oh no.
Oh, she poisoned the
There was
water.
no toilet paper. This couldn't be happening. I had to run and almost puked my guts up. And I wasn't the only one. James raced in after me, and at one point, we were both lying on the floor, taking it in turns to vomit. Not exactly what I had in mind for our first date together. That water
Not your
must have
first
been
date.
20
Get that
years
out of your
old or
head.
something. Amy got seriously annoyed and even tried to drag James out of the bathroom. Was she jealous? And then I noticed an empty soda bottle behind the toilet. Had Amy secretly had a bottle of soda and not told us? How selfish. That first day seemed to fly by. Most of it spent in the bathroom, of course. By the end of the day, I'd almost lost my voice from screaming for help. Would we be stuck down there forever? And then nighttime came, and James and Amy got into
How do
a
you know it's
huge
nighttime?
fight.
Your phone would be dead by
Secretly, it
now.
made me happy to see them argue. James deserved better. He was super upset that he'd missed his football game, but Amy just kept saying he could go to college with her and then they'd never be apart. And James got really angry and said he didn't want to go to her college. Then the whole room went silent. It was tense. I didn't know what to do, so I just stayed quiet and pretended to be asleep. A while later, I heard someone saying my name. I opened my eyes and could see James. He said he could hear my teeth chattering and that I should come and share their blanket. But if Amy woke up and saw me, she'd go mental. I didn't care about her though. James was actually being kind of nice to me for the first time in my life.
'Cause you
I
realize how
didn't
much of a
lose my
prick Amy
chance.
is.
So I climbed under the blanket next to him. Our legs were almost touching. And of course, that That woke Amy up, and when she saw me, I thought she was going to explode.
Bro, not
James
the
wanted
Minecraft
some
creeper.
peace, so he snuggled into her and left me lying there all alone. But I couldn't stop
That's
thinking about
fine.
the moment we just shared. And during the night, I decided to try and get closer to him. I rolled over until I was almost
This is not
right
the
at his
time.
back. But then I heard something. They were kissing. I was watching them, wishing it was me he was kissing. I couldn't stop staring, but suddenly, Amy opened her eyes and caught me watching them. She told James, but James said I was asleep and that they should get some sleep too. But James didn't go back to sleep. He waited until Amy was snoring next to him, and then he reached out his hand and grabbed mine. I felt like my heart was going to explode, and I so badly wanted to get closer to him, but it was too risky. There was always the next night, right? So we fell asleep holding hands, and I couldn't stop smiling. In the morning, though, I was lying there all alone. When Amy got up to go to the bathroom, I smiled at James, and he smiled back. But then Amy came out and saw me and said, "Freak, stop staring at us like that." I thought James would stick up for me, but he didn't.
What are these poses?
Nothing had happened between us. The rest of that day was
Yeah, because if
kind
he
of
said
weird.
anything,
We just
you'd be
sat
dead.
around quietly. At one point, James almost fainted. I mean,
Makes
we
sense.
were all starving. I was so weak. I just kept
Honestly,
smiling.
I'm kind
When I
of
woke up
shocked
from
you're
one
not
of the
dead yet.
naps, James and Amy were eating biscuits. Where did they get them from? I could almost feel
They're
the
eating
saliva
cookies.
pouring out of my mouth, and I assumed Amy
Even
would
if a
offer me one, but she
British person submitted this, you could have switched the dialogue to say cookies instead.
He didn't. They ate them all, and after that, I
You
didn't
should have
speak to
spoke
either of
up.
them. I was so mad. I couldn't
You
sleep
should
that
have
night
spoke.
because
You
my
should have
stomach was
spoke up.
rumbling
You
so
should have
loudly.
spoke up.
But once Amy
Should
had
have spoke
fallen
up.
asleep, James reached into his pocket and handed me a biscuit. I swear I almost kissed him right there and then. This was why I had a crush on him. He was actually a good guy, even if he had a demon for a girlfriend. For the next few nights, we got into a bit of a routine. After Amy fell, this was why I had a crush on him. He was actually a good guy, even if he had a demon for a girlfriend. For the next
You could at least keep your doors the same. Also, can we point out, the next few nights, that is their third day in there. They haven't had water, like proper water, in a few days. So, and you can only go like a week without water. Which is just dumb. Yeah, I don't get it.
few nights, we got into a bit of a routine. After Amy fell asleep, we'd lie there and hold hands. And one night, James came right up to me, and I could tell he was about to kiss me. But Amy started murmuring in her sleep, and he quickly moved over to her and held her. It drove me crazy. After
Do you want to die?
we'd been down there for like 6 days, things
You
were
should be
really
dead.
starting to smell. The toilet, my clothes, it was nasty. And still, James and I hadn't shared a kiss. But for some
Yeah, because that's the most romantic place to have a kiss at. In a bunker where you're trapped.
reason, Amy still looked good. That day I noticed she didn't get up. It was like she'd given up on shouting for help, but it bothered me. Why should she get to sit there and chill? So I told her I'd just seen a huge spider, and I've never seen her run so fast. She raced up the stairs to where James was, and I immediately went over to where she'd been sitting. I just had this feeling she was hiding something, like another pack of biscuits. But I
Or
found
maybe a
something
secret way
much
out.
bigger. Under where she'd been sitting was a loose part of the floorboard. I lifted it up and couldn't believe what I was seeing. There was so much stuff down there. Beauty
Yeah.
products, food, a battery pack, even clothes.
Not
Oh
surprised.
my gosh, what was going on? I didn't have time to put the floorboard back before James appeared to find the spider. I whispered that Amy had been hiding stuff. James came running over and pulled out her phone. He knew her password and typed it in quickly. Then he saw some messages that said things like, I need to find a way to stop him going off to college. I'm scared he'll leave me. As he was reading them and I was eating one of her secret chocolate bars, she came down the stairs. What are you doing? She screamed, but it was too late. We'd caught her red-handed. She tried to grab her phone back.
That's the most relatable thing I've ever
What are
seen.
you doing? She screamed, but it was too late. We'd caught her.
He's fucking crying. What the fuck? Just fucking.
Red-handed. She
Okay,
tried to
then.
grab her phone back from James, but he wouldn't give it to her. Eventually, she broke down. and
He's
said
still
that
crying.
She didn't want James to leave her for college, so she planned this. But she had only meant for them to be stuck down there for 1 or 2 days. Then she said I'd ruined it all by turning up and getting them locked in here. But there was something else. While she'd been talking, I'd been digging around, and inside a pair of her socks was a key. I held it in my hands and watched as James went crazy at Amy. He said he couldn't
Deserved.
believe he dated such a psycho and that she'd officially
Psycho.
ruined his life. Then the best
I
part
mean,
of all,
yeah.
he turned to me and apologized. He said he was sorry he'd treated me so badly, but actually he'd realized how amazing I was and had enjoyed our sneaky hand-holding sessions while Amy slept. At that, Amy went berserk. She ran towards me and I quickly jumped away. Then I watched as
Bro,
she
what
walked
is
around
this?
inside her secret hiding place. Looking for this? I asked, swinging the key in my hand. Then I turned to James and said, she's been hiding this key the whole time. Before Amy could get to it, I ran up the stairs and undid the lock. James was right behind me and we both climbed out and collapsed onto the ground laughing. We were free. As Amy climbed out, I thought
This
she
is
was
just a
gonna
movie
eat me or
plot.
something, but she
Condensed down into
stormed
12,
off.
16
James
minutes.
shouted after her, "That's right, keep walking. I never want to see your face again." Finally,
This
she
is
was
just-
gone.
If they kiss
James
here,
turned to me
if they kiss, this is just a fucking movie plot.
and gave me the biggest kiss ever. We could see the janitor running towards us, and before all hell broke loose with our parents about where we'd been for the past week,
Why would they? I feel like they should be the ones being like, oh, I'm sorry we didn't go looking for you, even though you've been missing for 6 days. And your parents shouldn't be mad about
James
this.
asked for my number, and now we're about to go on our first proper date. The worst week.
Oh,
of
so
my
this has
life
just happened.
became the best week.
Oh, so based off what she's saying here, this has just happened? Okay, I kind of just wanted to make this. Because, in my opinion, 3 wasn't enough evidence. So, we're watching this one. No one knows why he's only sweet to me. 14 minutes.
Hey friends, I'm Vanya from Moldova. Please like and subscribe.
Why am I doing this
I
to
was
myself?
born in a small town to a single mom who made it big when she moved to the big city. Mom was an entrepreneur, and every business she'd start would become a gold mine. And Mom spoiled
Let's take
me
this
rotten.
note.
I just had
Will this seem American, or will this seem Moldovan?
to look at something and she'd get it for me. For my 8th birthday, I asked her if I could have a bigger swimming pool, and she got a water park installed in her.
This would have made news headlines. Okay? If some rich-ass woman gave her daughter a water park in her own backyard, this would have made news headlines. Like, I can guarantee, I'm going to search up. Nope. There's this one, but I highly doubt it's hers. Well, where is this? Where is this? Where is this? This one. Dallas. It's in Dallas. Right? That's what it's saying? Yeah, no, this is in Dallas.
In her backyard. My friends and I went crazy when we saw it. Oh, my God, Mom, you're the best. Anything for you, love. And remember what the doctor said. Talk slowly and you won't stutter that much. Yeah, I used to stutter a lot when I was young.
I do
mostly
too.
had it under control, but it could get worse when I was nervous or excited. But other
That's
than
just
that, my
anyone.
life was perfect.
If you talk fast, you're gonna
Everyone
stutter.
wished they were me. That is, until the 10th grade.
I'm doing it now. If you talk fast, you're gonna stutter. And if you get nervous or excited, you're gonna stutter. It's human. I'm stuttering right now because I'm mad. It just happens. Stuttering's a normal thing.
Grade when Mom
Ugh.
stock crashed one day, and she was left with nothing. We were gonna lose our house. I decided to reach out to my
This is
friends
why
for
you
help.
don't buy
That's
expensive
when they all
things.
showed their true colors. So sorry, Vanya, but we're facing financial problems too. I want to help, but my dad works really hard, and I don't think he'll give your mom money. He always says she got rich by pure luck. Luck? My mom works really. Your mom works really hard? I don't think so, and Dad's right. Now go away, please. We don't have all day for you to.
What? It's crazy. Everything that's happening. We're only a minute and a half into this one. So, her mom failed. It looked like she worked hard. Her problem was buying expensive things. That is what. Sorry. That's every rich person's downfall. Buying too much expensive things. Eventually they go poor, and then they're like, oh no, what do I do now? And then they go into bankruptcy. Also, this reminds me of like the no bitches meme.
Finish your sentence. Gosh, people could change so fast. We did lose the house, and Mom decided to send me to her hometown to live with a friend for a while. Though I hated the idea of being away from her, I agreed for her sake. By the time I landed at the airport, I was already homesick. But just then, I saw a boy my age holding a placard with my name. Hey, you must be here for me. Wow, it's really hot here. Wait, aren't you gonna pick up my bags? Oh, I'm so sorry. Where are my manners? I'm Dimitri, and guess what? I'm
Demi-
not your
okay.
servant, so pick them up yourself. How rude. I can't.
Spoiled brat.
Carried my bags and followed him outside to find a donkey? Where's the car? Gosh, you sound like a broken record. That's your ride, princess, so hop on. That was my first time on a donkey cart.
Sounds
I didn't
fun.
mind, but the entire way I felt like punching this boy Dimitri for making fun of me. Mom's
Not making
friend
fun of
was
you.
lovely though. She hugged me the moment she saw me, and then took me to a tiny room. This is so cute. My cat has a room just like this. I had to leave my room
Your cat. God, this would have made news headlines, man.
for this city brat. Look, if you don't like it, you can always sleep in the basement. It's got lots of space, and pets too. A family of rats. What a jerk! I wouldn't have lasted a day there without his amazing mom, and I mostly tried to pretend he didn't exist. A week later, I started school, and surprisingly, I made friends instantly. But soon I discovered
They're
what?
fake.
All the girls wanted to know what it was like living
Being
under
rich?
the same roof as Dimitri.
Oh, never mind.
Not great, because he's a moron. A handsome moron. A few days later, our school was having a football match, and I volunteered as the water girl. Dimitri was team captain, and all the girls were chanting his name. Jeez, so lame.
Another
Sure, he was handsome,
dumb
but just a
romance.
little. I was so busy
Huh.
looking at him that I didn't notice this player trying to catch a ball, and he crashed straight into me. Are you trying to kill me? Watch where you're
Say sorry.
going. Great advice. I'll remember it for next time. He just smiled like an idiot, and before running off, he winked at me. The next day, I saw
He was just being nice about it. That was just being nice. He wasn't being rude. He was being nice.
the same player outside my school with a car full of roses. As soon as he spotted me, his silly smile was back. Hey, beautiful, these are for you.
Never mind, kick him in his guts. I'm not saying you can't be romantic or whatever. But this is a lot. And this is not how you win over a person's heart. Maybe this is like once you already got to know him. Maybe you're dating already. But this is not how you win over a person's heart. I am just saying that now.
By the way, I'm Nova. Wow, that's a lot of roses. Thanks. Nova was on the football team of another school, but he just turned up outside every day to ask me
Okay.
out. I kept saying no, but he
Stalker.
wasn't taking it. And then one day at home, I saw a car pull up outside with Nova in the back seat. He'd found out where I lived. But just then, I saw Dimitri's mom go to the car, and the driver stepped out, handed her an envelope, and left. What was that all about? Later, I asked Dimitri's mom, and she told me her husband used to work for Nova's dad. And even after he was gone, the family kept
That's sad.
helping her with money. They were even paying for Dimitri's school. Wow, that made me see Nova in a different...
Granted, he is nice. But he's using money to win you over. When you're in a relationship with somebody, at least hopefully, you're not in it for the money, you're in it for the person.
light. So the next time he asked me out, I said yes. When Nova picked me up for our first date, he said, "I was surprised this is where you live. How do you know these people?" I told him everything about why I'd moved here. I'm sorry, that sounds tough. But
Maybe I was wrong
just
about
be
him.
Careful of that Dimitri. What do you mean? Dimitri's dad worked for us, and we'd play together as kids. But I always felt like he resented us, especially me. Like,
I
he
think it's just
hates
because
me because I was born rich and he wasn't. I'm sure.
I mean, yeah. I mean, being poor isn't the worst thing. It's pretty bad. Damn, I mean, yeah, at least he can afford a house. What I'm trying to say here is, he's gonna resent you because you have more money than him. Okay, that's just gonna happen.
Sure, he has nothing nice to say about me, even after everything my family does for him.
With the money thing again, just because you're giving him money doesn't mean he has to like you. Yes, you are paying for his school, which is a nice thing to do, but that doesn't mean you should get something back, one, or two, force him to like you. It doesn't matter.
I didn't have trouble believing that.
I'm
Dimitri
getting
was
pissed at this.
mad at me too for being some rich brat. My date
Yeah,
with
'cause
Nova
apparently he has that
was
bad-
totally unexpected.
bad shit with
Instead of
rich
taking
people.
me to some fancy restaurant, he took me to a soup kitchen for the homeless. and
Never mind, Nova's
some
nice.
Volunteers.
I
always come
I regret everything I said. This took a turn quickly.
here when I want to do something special. Feels
Good job,
good,
Nova.
doesn't it? This boy was so sweet.
Never mind, Noah
He
was a
dropped
good
me
guy.
back home.
Noah's a good
We
guy.
found Dimitri on the porch.
It's just doing the entire,
Seriously,
like,
you're
that thing.
dating Nova? Did the rest of the male population die? What's the problem?
Shit.
He's a nice guy. Oh yeah. So where'd you go on a date? Was it an orphanage this time? Or a pet shelter to see some poor puppies? That's the kind of stuff he does on first dates to impress girls. I don't expect you to understand what it means. to
Sorry
be
for the mic
genuinely
noises.
Nice. I didn't expect you to be this dumb. But hey, you surprised me. Actually, you guys deserve each other. Two spoiled brats. Nova was right about him. He sounded so judgy and bitter. I started going out with Nova and was having a good time. But he was always too generous with fancy dinners and gifts. Which made me
There,
uncomfortable.
you should have
Oh,
said
I
that.
Wish you wouldn't. I can't give you gifts like these. I'm not expecting anything.
Never
But I can
mind.
Spoil my girlfriend, can't I? He gently kissed me for the first time, and I didn't exactly feel sparks. And I felt he was falling for me much too fast.
There's a point on my desk where my mic stand used to be, and it's hurting.
And then I found them both in her room. She was in bed with a high fever. When we called the doctor, he said she'd caught some virus. He advised us to stay home.
And this is where it's getting way more
I
unrealistic.
wanted to help in some way, so I made soup for her. I was carrying it up to her room when Dimitri stopped me. What's that? It's soup? Mom would give this to me when I was sick. No thanks. You're not giving that to my mom. How would you know how to cook anything when you never had to lift a finger?
Okay, well, he's a piece of bitch.
Can you just shut up for once? Yeah, I used to be rich. It's not a crime. And I'm not useless and spoiled. I pushed him aside and went up with the tray. Gosh, I was so sick of him. Later at night, there was a knock on my door, and Dimitri peeked in. I'm sorry about earlier. I shouldn't have spoken to you like that. Yeah, you shouldn't have, but it's okay.
At least he has the
I
guts
bet
to
that
say
you'll worry
sorry.
about your mom. Yeah, but I haven't been very nice to you. I'll be better. After that day, Dimitri and I kinda became friends. We took turns caring for his mom and doing household chores, and at night, we'd sit outside and talk for hours. He
You
was
started
so
falling for him.
simple and was really starting to grow on me. 2 weeks flew by, and his mom recovered completely. One day, Dimitri was working in the garden.
Shirtless.
I was reading and observing how good he looked without a shirt on, when suddenly he spoke. Hey, Vanya, can you check if the water's coming from
Is
the-
Vanya a Moldovan name? Kind of curious. Russian or Slavic name? Hey, Moldovan is a Slavic place. Go to the Wikipedia. Bulgaria. Bulgaria is pretty close to Moldova. What about Dimitri? I know is. Why am I doing this?
I don't know if it's broken or just as I picked it up, water came gushing straight at my face. And Dimitri was laughing like crazy.
I mean,
Gosh, you're so easy to trick.
that is just
I
kind of a
picked up
funny
handful
joke.
of mud as he ran off. As I was chasing him, he tripped and fell, and then I rubbed the mud all over his face. What are you doing to her, jerk? Nova was about to attack Dimitri when I
Where did he come from? Where was he? Where did he come from? Randomly, out of the blue.
stopped him. Hey, we were just playing. I started it. And why were you doing that? Did you forget I was picking you up for dinner? You're gonna tell her what she can and can't do now? The boys looked ready to kill each other. So I dragged Nova aside and told him to wait in the car while I cleaned up. I had totally forgotten about dinner at his place. Nova lived
Dump
in a
him.
mansion with his dad, who welcomed me warmly. You're living with Dimitri and his mom, right? His father was a close friend of mine. Friend? Come on, Dad. He was our
Are you kidding me? This word? Servant?
servant. Dad's really soft-hearted and likes helping people. Dimitri would have never gone to school if it weren't for him.
Fucking asshole. I take back everything I said for Nova.
Is hardworking and will make something of himself. Unlike
I'm sure he
some
will.
entitled rich kids I know. Just then, his dad
Yo!
excused himself, and Nova flung his plate at the wall. This is what happens every time I bring that jerk up. Dad has always liked Dimitri more than me. I'm sure that's not true. Don't think I'm blind or stupid. You like Dimitri more too, don't you? You've been avoiding me for 2 weeks just to spend more time with him. Are you
What
crazy?
is this?
I told you his mom was unwell. Liar. I stared at him in shock, and he suddenly snapped out of his anger. Vanya, I'm sorry. I'd like to go home, please. With the driver. I felt shaken on my way back. Nova was turning out to be really strange.
Turning out to be a rich entitled asshole.
Dimitri was sitting in the kitchen with an unpleasant face. You're back early. Were you waiting for me? Yeah, waiting to tell you that you're an idiot for dating Nova. He's fake and horrible.
True.
Why can't you see that? Are you blinded by his expensive gifts? Or too impressed by his fancy cars and mansion?
Just say you dumped
Told
him.
I was breaking up with Nova, but that made me so mad. There you are, back to being a jerk. Mind your own business, Dimitri, and don't talk to me. Dimitri and I stopped talking after that day, and I broke up with Nova too. He kept begging me to forgive him, but I held my ground. He was just too much. A few days later, Mom called me with the most amazing news. Her company was up and running again, and she wanted me to come home. I decided I'd leave right after the final exams the next week. There was nothing keeping me here anyway.
Playing Minecraft.
After exam week, there was a big football match between our school and Nova's, and I made sure to sit far behind on the bleachers so he wouldn't spot me. The match was an intense one. Dimitri and Nova
This narrator.
butting heads on the field and almost broke into a fight, but our team won by a large margin, and Nova stormed off the field furiously. Dimitri looked so happy, and I wanted to congratulate him. I thought I'd catch him outside the locker room, but I walked into the building to find two guys pinning him against the wall as Nova punched him. Stop it, Nova! Don't hurt him! Nova turned to me with crazy eyes. Oh, how worried you are now. But you didn't care when you hurt me. I know you broke up with me because you have feelings for this worm. After all that money I spent on you, I thought because
God,
you
this is
were
just
rich
a movie.
you'd have some class. But you're just cheap. You're a psycho. And yeah, I like Dimitri a lot. Now I understand why your dad likes him better. You'll pay for saying that. I'll make sure Dad stops giving them any money. I'll convince him, you'll see. No, you won't, Nova, because I've seen everything I know.
Damn.
And I am so disappointed.
What is this? People just come out of nowhere every 10 minutes. Not even every 5 seconds. They come out of nowhere.
I turned around to see Nova's dad, who'd come to see the match, and he looked furious. He grabbed Nova's arm and led him away. Dimitri, are you okay? Your face. I'm fine, Vanya. I should have listened to you about Nova. No, I was unfair and mean to you, and I'm really sorry. About what you said back there, is it true? Which part? The part where you said you like me?
Do we just not have male voice actors for this?
I like you? Big deal. Like me? Because I
Can we just end it there?
like you too. I guess it's just you then. He grinned and pulled me in for a kiss.
My God.
Perfect.
We're watching 5. My parents disappeared and left me with 5 kids. Oh my God, actually, that is just Hatsune Miku. Holy shit.
And then the waiter trips and drops his tray full of live lobster, and one of them pinches you. And this is not even the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me. Let's take it from the beginning. My mom was
Never
a
mind.
Red Cross advocate for women's rights, and my dad was her bodyguard, so they were always off to this gala or
Why do they look familiar to
another,
me?
and they left us back with an army of nannies. And when I say us, I mean me and the Chaos Crew, also known as my 5 younger siblings.
No one has naturally
Bombs,
pink
mud
hair
fights,
either.
Glitter bombs, they were so extra. Even Mary Poppins would snap her little umbrella and shuffle up a chimney to escape from them. Every time another nanny left, we got the talk.
I'm disappointed in all of you, but especially you, Martha. You're the oldest. You should lead by example.
I haven't done anything.
Exactly.
We're not watching this one. Because
Ugh,
I remember seeing
boys
my
are
feet a while
so
ago.
Complicated. I know a lot of people
Okay.
that have relationships with the opposite gender.
What?
but I can guarantee you that my tale really takes the cake. Do you think you have problems talking with boys? Imagine
No.
how confused I got the first time I ever saw one. I was head over heels and a complete idiot. That's right. I didn't see a boy until I was 17. I didn't even know
You
there
didn't
were
have a
other
father?
genders besides females. I'm really not kidding.
What?
You're probably wondering
The
how
fuck?
that was possible. Well, that's kind of a
It's
long
not.
story, but I promise it's worth the wait. Before I
How long
get
is
into
this?
any of that, don't forget to
Ugh.
like and subscribe to our channel. If you do it, your crush will send you a message in the next 2 days.
Joke's on you, I don't have one.
I didn't grow up with the concept
I don't
of
give my number out to
traditional
random people.
romance. Instead, I was raised in a very alternative way. When I was just a baby, I somehow ended up in the middle of nowhere in a big house filled with only women and girls. We did
Ah.
everything together. We referred to ourselves as a commune, but in retrospect, it was more like a cult.
Which goes skip right past us?
We all wore the same clothes and had our hair done in the same way. We all
That-
looked eerily alike.
That's a
To
cult.
outsiders, it was like we were all sisters. In actuality,
Yes, that's
the
a cult.
headmistress decided what we would look like and gave us little makeovers to be her walking clones. Some girls were lucky enough to have naturally blonde hair, but I was forced to bleach my hair at a very young age. She took us having the same image very seriously. It went well beyond matching dresses and hair colors. This one time when I was around 8, this girl around my age went off into the woods without telling anyone. That kind of thing was explicit.
Does this
against the
exist,
rules.
like, even in the
She ended up
US?
playing around the forest and
Or
got her hand
anywhere?
stuck in a broken maple tree. By the time some of the older members were able to find her, her hair was completely covered on the stuff from the tree. After maybe an hour of trying to
What are
wash
the
it out,
noises?
the headmistress came out with a knife and cut it all sloppily off. It looked so bad, but that wasn't the worst part. Next, she ordered us to line up, and one by one, and she started giving everyone the same sloppy haircut. I loved
If I
my
hear that
hair,
noise
and when
again.
she came to me, I cried as loud as I could. It wasn't my fault.
Oh my god.
Why was I being punished? There's no I here, the headmistress said as she lopped off my hair, which was already brittle enough from all of the
Oh my god,
bleaching.
I'm getting
She
annoyed
also
of this
cut
fucking
her
thing.
hair in the end, effectively making us all hideous. That's just what the cult was all about.
What? What are these references? No one can tell me that's not the Nazi salute. Oh, why the fuck did it mute?
Effectively making us all hideous. That's just what the cult
That's
was
just
all
the
about.
Nazi salute.
Wiping away our
Oh my god, no, they're
individual
on.
identity.
They're on a.
I
They're
know
on
it
a.
sounds
They're on a
like nightmare,
table.
but for years,
They
it was
really made it
just
seem
my
like that
life.
though.
There were lots of shady things I discovered from time to time, but I never addressed them because I found it normal.
Let me guess, period
or I did for
cramps,
a while at
or
least.
like
One day, I decided to go on my own little
your body
adventure.
going on
I
a
was only
spiritual
about 8.
advance or
I
some
didn't
shit.
see any harm in it. I wasn't supposed to walk away from the farm, but I didn't feel like spending another grueling 8 hours tending the crops. I thought I could sneak away for a little bit.
What was
so I
that?
waited for the headmistress to leave. Next, I told the other girls I had to go to the bathroom, but I actually quickly ducked behind a corner when they weren't looking. The next thing I did was quickly run away from the house. I had never been farther than the farm at this point. I expected to see more of the forest or something, but instead I just saw a fence. It wasn't a pleasant picket fence, though. It had barbed wire twisted around it everywhere. Next, I heard the
It was like a prison
headmistress.
fence.
She sounded like she was on the other side of the fence, but I couldn't see. I tried to lean up for a better look on the other side, but ended up cutting my hand up pretty bad. I immediately shouted out in pain, and before I could see where she came from, the headmistress was right there. She wasn't worried about me getting hurt, though. She was very angry. She didn't bother to help me bandage it up and instead dragged me back to the rest of the girls while I was crying. Next, she pulled me up by my arm and started lecturing all of us. First, about how irresponsible we were that someone could get away so easily, and then about the dangers of leaving the protected grounds. If you thought the haircut was weird, you should brace yourself for what came next.
Oh, I'm
After
bracing
getting them
myself.
bandaged up, we all had to wear wraps on our hands. It was so weird. The other girls complained that it made the farm work difficult, but the headmistress said that we were all in this together. Even though I had a feeling there was something off about our lives, I didn't really have anything to compare it to. The only things I ever read were printouts the headmistress made. I had never watched TV or heard music that we hadn't played ourselves. I honestly thought that the world just sort of ended beyond the walls. The headmistress explained how we lived at the center of the world, and beyond the fences, it was full of monsters and the unknown. I know some of the
And
things
our
I used to
monsters.
believe sound so stupid, but try not to judge me. It's all I ever knew. You're probably
I'm
wondering
judging you
how we
because this
kept
is
ourselves
fake.
busy in such a small world. Well, it wasn't easy at all. First off, there was a lot of praying. My entire existence focused
Oh
around
my
this religion
god.
that the headmistress made up on her own.
Oh my
We just
god.
focused on the importance of
A
discipline
made-up
and hard work.
religion.
Anytime we weren't out on the farm, we were praying. One time we literally spent 4 hours straight, just knelt down in silence. My knees were so bruised. Praying and working were the only things we were permitted to do. I asked the headmistress what we were praying so hard
R.I.P.
for,
eating.
because my
They can't
knees
eat
were
or drink.
really starting to hurt. She told me that we were praying for the only 2 important things in life: the safety of our fellow sisters and creating babies. No
you're thinking. How do you get babies in a society with only women?
Yeah.
You need to promise not to laugh at what I'm about to tell you, because I never got a proper talk about where babies come from. You'll have to wait.
I'm
a
gonna
little,
laugh because
because
it
to
sounds
understand where we
completely
thought
made
babies
up,
come
which
from,
it is.
You need to understand our ideas of the world. See, we were raised on a belief that we came from the farm itself. I truly believe that the entire world fit in this tiny 4-acre plot. You might wonder why we never tried to explore beyond the walls. Well, we were raised on horror stories. One day, we didn't have enough vegetables growing on the farm. The headmistress made us cut our portions in half. I was so hungry. I asked her if I could go try to find some food beyond the wall, or maybe even set up a new farm where maybe the ground was more fertile. She warned me that if I went beyond the walls, I would be gobbled up by massive monsters. She told us about big monsters made of metal and flashing lights that would swallow us whole just
Cars. She's talking about cars.
for fun. A part of me wanted to be skeptical
Cars.
of this,
Cars.
because
She's
it
talking
was
about goddamn
new at the
cards.
time. I didn't really understand until I was a little older, maybe around
They
11.
escaped.
We had a roll call every morning after our sunrise prayers.
This is just
One day,
prison.
Sarah, the girl who always stood next to me, wasn't there. I assumed she was sick, but I didn't see her at all. During
There's like a
lunch,
weird
the
metallic-y
headmistress
thing
came
I
to
hear.
announce that during the night, a magical force had drawn her away and she was eaten by monsters. I was so scared. She warned us all never to go outside of the fence, no matter what we saw. Now, I thought this was all crazy until I saw one of those monsters with my own eyes. It was a giant, flying, buzzing monster. Next, we all
Mosquito.
ran outside and called for help. The headmistress ordered us to pray for our safety. We knelt together for about 8 hours in prayer and were
No
so
way.
relieved when our headmistress let us know that our prayers were heard.
It was a
and
mosquito.
No one was to be eaten today. Some of you
gonna
probably
guarantee
already
it.
figured out what we wasted our time
It was an
praying
airplane?
away. An airplane. It might seem silly to you, but at that moment, I never felt stronger. This was the proof I needed to completely dedicate myself to our way of life. I stopped
Stop showing that image. Stop. It is not okay to show that image.
questioning what we did and became a model member of our community. That night, we held a little funeral
Fuck, I have
service
to
for
burp.
Sarah, and I led the prayer. Like all the other times before, we didn't have a body to bury. Instead, we buried a pair of her shoes into the ground in hopes it could help nurture the earth and make new babies.
Let's fucking. This is so unbelievably made up. Most religions, I believe, say that babies come from sex.
Biggest lie of them all. Now I'll explain how we got the babies exactly.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to get babies without any men around, of course. Well, the headmistress did the unthinkable and lied to us all about it. I will never forget the first time I was really aware of what was happening. The headmistress said
Did
that
you have
she had
period
to go on
cramps?
an
Were you getting
important
itches?
mission to
Were
the
your
outside.
loins
She was
burning?
accompanied by 4 other senior members. I asked her where she was going, and she said she was
She went
going
to go collect
the
babies.
seeds. When she came back, she would put them in the secret basement, and if we worked hard enough all season, then we would have new babies. Getting new babies was the best time of the whole year. I'm not kidding.
Don't say
I
that
really
now.
thought you grew babies out of the ground like a
Don't
carrot.
say that
I
now.
love babies. It was a rite of
Don't say
passage
that
for the
now.
older girls in the
They were
commune to get a
kidnapped.
baby of their own to name. We
This-
would then raise the baby
This would be such big headlines. This is how I know it's fake. Multiple daughters, multiple little girls being kidnapped, and this many of them would have made news headlines everywhere.
together. When I was
But I digress.
15 and finally coming of age, I tried to learn everything there was to know about babies. And when I felt I was ready, I asked if she could help me grow my baby. The mistress thought about this for a moment. Then she told me I have to work harder and I have to prove my loyalty to the commune.
And you have to get
Having a
boned.
baby is the highest honor of the whole commune. The following years, as I went up in rank, I got more privileges to explore the property. The day of my 17th birthday, the headmistress asked to meet with me. See, since we held work at such a high honor, our birthdays were celebrated by getting a new job.
For the most part, this meant switching our duties on the farm and rotating out of your old job. I had kind of expected to be switched from pumpkins to apples, but I was shocked to hear she had a much bigger job in mind. She enlisted me as a watchguard for the perimeter. I was told it was a very important and dangerous job given to only
Really?
the most trusted officials. After this, she would make sure to grow me a baby. It was my sole job to
Don't
walk
they're being
around the
kidnapped?
perimeter the whole day and make sure no one was coming in or getting out. She entrusted me with the sole piece of technology I thought we carried on the estate, a walkie-talkie. As someone who never really ventured near the fence, I didn't think it would be such an active job. You would actually be surprised by how life-changing this promotion was. One day, when I was making my rounds, I experienced the most traumatic thing in my life. I heard the sound of branches breaking on the other side of the fence.
Yeah, that's
I
more traumatic than
immediately
being
called the
kidnapped as a
headmistress.
kid.
She told me to go back to my
She
room
hasn't
and
talked
she would
about
take
that.
care of it. My curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to blow out my candle, shut off my walkie-talkie, and duck behind a bush to watch. Sure enough, a few minutes later, the headmistress showed up. She was holding some contraptions I had never seen before.
Bear
I
traps?
have since learned the names of these two objects. The first was a flashlight.
Nope.
It lit everything up so much better than the lantern. I could see everything. I could now see that the sound of the branches breaking was Missy, one of the teen members of the community. At first, I felt some relief that there weren't any dangerous intruders or evil monsters. It didn't take long for those pleasant feelings to leave me. Right after Missy started apologizing for leaving, the headmistress pulled out the second contraption.
What the fuck? What? Holy shit! Oh my god! I know it's fake, but just out of the blue! Out of the blue! You ready? A fucking gun!
What I know now was a gun.
Bro, she
Missy
pulled out a
immediately
fucking
started running
Glock.
again, and the headmistress chased her until I couldn't see them anymore.
Bro, she pulled out a
Next, I
goddamn
heard
Glock.
big bang. I didn't know what a gun did, so I just assumed a giant tree fell on them. I rushed to go and help them both, but I didn't see any broken trees in sight. I ran right into the headmistress. I asked her what had happened and where Missy was. She asked what I saw, and I told her the truth, or at least part of it. I just said that I heard Missy cry out, and then I heard a large crash. I was crying so hard, but the headmistress told me a monster had kidnapped her and it was too late. She tried to fight the monsters off, but in the end, it was just too late.
Mhm.
The next thing she did was rush me back inside before I was going to be stolen too. She made me promise that I would never go into the forest and that I would never tell anyone what
Where
I saw.
is
Part
this?
of my job was keeping the illusion that we were safer than we were. Something just didn't add up for me. I was curious to know what deviant force had convinced Missy to cross over the fence. Little did I know I was about to find out for myself. I was just
Get
going
to
about
it.
my regular rounds when I heard a loud rumbling sound. There, approaching the fence, was one of the monsters the headmistress had talked about. It was large with two large glowing eyes on the front, and it looked like there was a person
Car.
trapped inside. I couldn't see what they looked like, but they were waving. How was that possible if all the people in the world were within these walls? I called the headmistress using the walkie-talkie and told her what I had seen. A monster holding some poor girl hostage. The headmistress told me to immediately go home, but I wasn't about to let someone else fall victim to a monster. I shouted at the person to hold on. I was going to rescue them. That's when the person came out from the monster.
Yeah, it's a car.
They were not like any girl I'd ever seen. They were super tall with broad shoulders and hair all over their face. They spoke with a super deep voice that made my stomach drop. Hey, 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 they said. What's all the commotion about? Are you okay? My mouth went dry, and I couldn't get any words to come out at all. What was coming over me? It felt like I had butterflies in my stomach, and I couldn't think of what to say. Oh, wow, you're actually kind of cute. I didn't know what to say, but my face got so red and hot. I was uncomfortable, but in a good way. What was this feeling?
Stop.
Next, the headmistress showed up. She ordered me to get away from that boy at once. Boy? I hadn't even heard that term. The boy suddenly got very defensive.
He yelled at the headmistress, asking if she was crazy. He asked what she was doing, having some teenager locked in around barbed wire. He looked back at me and told me to come with him, and he'd get me out of here if I wanted. She does not want that, the headmistress yelled. I was already halfway on the fence, ignoring the barbed wires and all. It was like I had no control over my body and some kind of primal instincts were kicking in. If you cross that line, Missy, you'll never be allowed back here ever again. Mark my words. My body had already made up my mind, though. I don't think anything in the world could have stopped this urge to follow this boy. The headmistress stormed off. He helped me up and opened up the monster for me. I was nervous to get in.
Oh my
I
God.
bowed down and thanked the monster for safe passage. What? You've never seen a car before? The boy laughed. He explained that it wasn't a monster at all. On the commune, I felt like I knew the entire world, and now I suddenly knew nothing about anything. As we were driving along the city, I saw so many things. I asked to stop at everything. I had never seen street lamps, or puppies, or even a lake. Everything was so scary and new. Carlos, as the boy was called, patiently
It was
drove me
Carlos.
around explaining everything. I was surprised when we finally found something I could explain to him. Nailed right on one of those trees was a picture of my sister with the words "missing" printed on it. I shouted at him to stop the car and we hopped out. Next, he asked me what was going on, and I explained that this was the picture of one of the sisters that just joined the commune last month. He said that we needed to report this to the police. The child had been abducted from her home around that time. Impossible. We went down to the station and they pulled up a bunch of missing children's reports. It turns out all of the children that had been grown at the farm were
Were
actually just
kidnapped.
stolen. I asked
Yep.
if we could find where I had been from, but unfortunately, the records didn't go that far back. I led the police.
You're
back
only
to the commune,
16
where they
years, 17
arrested
years
the
old.
headmistress, along with some of the senior members, and took custody of all of the minors there, all 50 of them. The minors were to be returned to their
This would have
homes
so
and
been
put
a
up
police
for
report.
adoption. As I would be counted as a legal adult starting the next month, Carlos said I could just live with him. He was going to teach me what love was. My entire life was a lie. Carlos helped me get started in the real world. He introduced me to lots of amazing things: ice cream, grocery stores, and all new sorts of clothes that didn't have to match anyone's. Carlos told me it was cute, but I knew I was hard sometimes. The moment I walked into his apartment, it was like I had stepped into some futuristic alternate reality. I screamed the second I saw a baby trapped inside a box. I
TV.
punched the box and broke it to let the baby free. Turns out it was an entertainment device called a TV.
Why'd you point-
An expensive device that baby trapped inside a box. I punched the box and broke it to let the baby free. Turns out it was
You're pointing to a flashlight.
an entertainment device called a TV, an expensive device that I smashed within minutes of knowing him. I explained to him how badly I wanted a baby, and if he thought we'd be able to find seeds around here. He laughed right in my face. When he told me where babies actually came from, well, I didn't believe him. Gross! I asked him if we could adopt one of my younger sisters, and he said no. He wanted to put my cult life behind us, and part of letting go was making new connections and letting go of the old ones. In the end, we ended up moving far away from that city. And
Makes
far
sense.
away from any of my sisters. I got used to technology and even got a job at a local daycare. I was normal. I was almost forgetting everything about my sisters until the day I found out I was pregnant. I was so overjoyed. It was fun.
I know this is fake, but congratulations.
I wanted to share it with my sisters as well. It was then that I really started to miss them. Carlos was very adamant that I cut them out completely, but I didn't agree so much. Secretly, I made a Facebook account where I tried to get into contact with them. I talked to a few of my sisters about what they were doing. Most of them were still in school for them. The transition wasn't too much as they were still young. I reached out to my closest friend from the commune. We were the same age, both freed when we were about 18. Turns out she was not happy with her new life at all. She hated technology and was too scared of boys. She told me she struggled very hard just to survive, and she was incredibly lonely. I wanted to share the news of my pregnancy with her, but that seemed to send her over the edge. A few days later in the mail, I got a letter from her saying she never wanted to see me again.
I showed the note to Carlos, and he said that it was my fault for purposely getting involved with those people. He accused me of purposely looking for drama because I like to play victim. It was then that I saw Carlos was not the knight in shining armor I thought he'd be. I had no support system after that. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, I lost the baby. The doctor told me I wouldn't ever be able to get pregnant.
Oh,
Carlos was very
yeah.
unsympathetic
Oh
and
my
in a
god.
bad mood. He was so nice and affectionate when we first got together, but he seemed to get bored of me very quickly. One time I was out shopping and I saw him kissing another girl. I ran right up to him and confronted him, but he told me that it wasn't his fault he wasn't satisfied in our relationship. Sorry,
That
I just
bitch.
expected more from us, you know? He wasn't even willing to try to work through it. He put in divorce papers and ended up marrying the other girl.
Oh my god, so you
Even
married
worse,
him.
They had a baby together. I was so sad and miserable, but I had no support at all. I was so used to having my sisters around me all the time. I didn't know how to handle being alone. I tried finding another boyfriend, but it's just so hard. I don't know the first thing about talking to boys. Plus, it seems no one wants a
For all you women out there, if you just walk up to a guy, say he's attractive, ask to go on a date, unless he's already in a relationship, he will majority of the time say yes. Just saying.
woman who can't bear a child. I
Like
miss my old
90%
home, and
chance.
I would give anything to be back in my commune. I know a lot of people may not have wanted to live in a cult, but it was so much better than my life now. What's worse, not being able to have a child robbed me of the biggest honor I thought I could have. I am alone with no one to love me. I can't help but wonder what if the headmaster was right, and the only thing that was waiting outside the fence was hell.
We're gonna talk about how much of a bitch that lady is, definitely. I'm gonna talk about it in the actual video though, because I'm tired right now. It is 8 o'clock at night. Okay, peace. Bye.
Those were the 5 videos I could find. Those were the weirdest ones. As you saw in that video clip of me reacting to them and how bullshit they were. But I'm gonna go into more of a deep dive on why they're dumbass, because that was in the moment. Now that I've had time to reflect and write the script on this script is like a solid few days old. So I might forget a few details, but we're just gonna skip past that. They're just so unbelievable. There are so many goddamn loopholes in these videos that it blows my mind on how no one catches them. Like, apparently the mother and Lisa knew each other, and yet didn't say a thing when they reunited. The mother should have been like, "Oh, Lisa, how's it going? You've been banging my husband? Yeah, that's cool." Nope. The mother showed no signs of memory loss, which is the biggest, like, how the fuck did she not know? Also, you would have thought someone who was a friend of the mother's wouldn't go and bang her husband right after she got in a fucking coma, but you know what? I'm not one to judge. All of these stories, like near the end especially, are just movie scripts. I swear to fucking God, they're just movies. Like at the end of the coma one, it just turned into the mother going absolutely demon mode. I swear to fucking God, it was something straight out of a horror movie from the 1990s. I'm not even fucking joking. You saw it. I showed you. It's bullshit. And they made it into a 2-parter too. There was supposed to be 3 parts. And it's been 2 years. There's not even a 3rd part. My voice is cracking. This is how much I... Okay, so the basics of the story, as we saw, was a mom waking up from a 15-year coma after she went into the coma after giving birth to her daughter. And after the 15 years, went fucking delusional and thought the daughter didn't grow up, which could happen in like retrospect. I'm like, yeah, that probably could happen. But the red glowing eye part, the sneaking around the woods part, everything else in the story, you know what I'm saying? Everyone in the story, by the way, is so incredibly stupid. You saw the stepmother, especially. Like, she's just so annoying. And people in the comments, by the way, I've read the comments on the video, fucking believe it. And I really can't tell if they're being sarcastic, but it looks like they're not, and that scares me. I'm done talking about that story. Let's just move on to the next one. As we saw, it was, what was it? Yes, the one about the 7-year-old kidnapper, which is somehow more believable than the last. Don't know how that happened. It's a fucking video about a child kidnapping. Not a child getting kidnapped, but a child doing the It's like the one ASDF movie joke, you know? The one where it's like, oh no, here's the child murderer, and it's the child running across the screen with the knife.
You know what I hate? Child murderers.
Oh no, here comes one now!
I'm gonna get ya!
I sound fucking crazy, don't I? Also, by the way, I want to point this out before I go into more of a deep dive. This is fucking impossible. It is legitimately impossible. I looked it up. There is no cases ever, from my knowledge, that had a person stay like the same size, like this little itty bitty, but never grow up, but never get taller than that, but they like the rest of their body still ages. And someone who's like 10 feet tall, and yet still is like 10 years old, like that one 8'11" giant who was only 19 when he died. But never has both been the case at the same time. Never. Where a person was this small, they stopped growing, and they also stopped aging, like, physically. Because apparently that bitch was 18 fucking years old. Also, the girl is just crazy. Like, how the hell does anyone just acquire a boomerang and a blow dart? Like, did her dad buy those for... Was it not suspicious when a little girl went up to the counter at your store and just tossed on a boomerang and some blow darts? Was the dad there? He's like, oh yeah, they're for me, but the girl put them up? The fuck? No. And let's talk about how the police somehow didn't think to, you know, oh my god, all these women are going missing. I wonder what the fuck's happening to them. And didn't decide to check the last people they were with. God, we're only fucking 2 stories in. Not sponsored. Gamer subs. Fucking delicious. I'm not even. This is what was this flavor? Clyde's Blackberry, I think. This isn't a complaint. This is just something I needed to rant about real quick. When I bought the sample pack for Gamer Subs, I got pineapple cocktail, dragon fruit punch, which is what the camera's currently sitting on. Like, I'm not even joking. It is just sitting on a container. Oh shit. It is just sitting on a container of dragon fruit punch while being rested up against the glass jar because I'm scuffed and this. We good now? Yeah, we good. And I got Pay Money Wubby's brand risk. I'm not even joking. Hold on. I'm not really a big fan. You probably couldn't hear me for a bit of that. I don't know how long you can't hear me. But I also got, in case you didn't hear me, I also got Brand Risk by Pay Money Wubby. And it was my least favorite flavor out of the sample pack because I'm not just that big of a fan of mango flavor. And when I went to see what I got when I ordered my Gamer Subs for like $90. Give me one moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6. And that's not even all. I also got Mango Meta. I was really hoping to get like other flavors so I can try them out without having to buy $40 tubes. Nope. Apparently not. Sorry about that little outburst there. I kind of just had to go on a little rant real quick. Hey! Scuffness, finally back to normal. Anyway, as I was saying, where were we? That's right, the 7-year-old kidnapper. Forgot about her. Yeah, after like a while, you would think that they would like go to look for the missing bodies of these women, but no. Nope, they're just nowhere to be found. Fuck those women, bitches. We're just gonna move on from that one. Sorry, that was a lot, but we still have fucking 3 more. So we ain't done just yet. Let's dive in. Next one. The one about the dumbass romance fucking being locked in the fucking bunker with your crush and his crazy fucking girlfriend. You plugged in? Yeah, you plugged in. With his crazy fucking girlfriend. It amazes me on how people don't catch on that that's just the plot of a fucking romance movie. It is like the entirety of the way through, and when they get out, the crush finally realizes, oh, I like you better than her. She can go die in hell. No. 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 It amazes me on how, like, I should have to make sure OBS was still recording. I'm looking at myself in OBS and I realize how much of a fucking dumbass I am doing this. Anywho, it's by far, out of all the stories, what was the last one again? Hold on. Yes, out of all the stories I'm going to review from My Story Animated here today, it is by far the most realistic one. Still, highly unlikely, I'm going to point that out, but still. Fuck. Yeah. It's just about some girl, her crush, and his crazy fucking girlfriend being locked in a bunker for 6 days. I just want to point out, she mentioned, she like slyly hinted at the fact that the parents of these kids would be angry at the kids for being locked in there, not worried. No search party was sent for these kids either. Because apparently, did someone see him sneak in? I forget if someone saw him sneak in or not, but whatever. No search party was sent going look for these kids, especially around the school, the last place they were spotted. Makes no fucking sense. Okay, you know, whatever. We're just gonna skip on to the next one. Because I got a lot, I have fucking 4 brain rots to go through, and I am 16 minutes into this recording. So we gotta speed things up. Next one, rich bitch. The one about the rich Moldovan. Good to see that they're going diverse. And you know what? Most people watching this video won't even know where the fuck Moldova is on a map. So good for them. Most of them just probably thought they meant like Minnesota or some shit. Bam, we're just gonna skip past that. The rich Moldovan. Who her mom's company, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The stock market crashed on her company. What the fuck am I doing? The stock market crashed for her company, and she had to go live with a family friend for a while. And what was the guy's name? Dimitri, yes, the son of this woman, Dimitri. Fucking asshole in the beginning, all because she was rich. She was nice. I get, like, not liking the rich because you're poor, which is, you know, understandable considering they have money and you don't. But going to as far as to despise them, even though they are a nice person to you, is a bit fucked up, you know what I'm saying? And then there's this one kid, Nova. I don't even remember how the fuck Nova met. All I remember was him going outside the school and be like, hey, pretty girl. You know? To her, you know what I'm saying? That's all I remember from how they met Nova. Was it at a soccer game? It might have been at a football game, sorry. For all my, international viewers, not Americans. Anywho, and Nova, who just thinks the way to any person's heart is money, you know, bling bling, cash cash, bringing her all these expensive gifts, going on all these expensive dates. It reminds me of the one scene in Friends, if you've ever watched the show, where, was his name Pete? I think his name was Pete, took one of the main characters, Monica, to Rome for their first date. They live in New York. Anyway, and then Nova, they go out for a little bit. Dimitri yells at the girl. What was her name? Do I have it written down? No, I don't have it written down. I should have probably written down her name. Anyway, the girl who was dating Nova, you know, the rich one who then became poor for a little bit, then was, you know, she started to become friends with Dimitri, you know, it was nice, you know, getting along with him. And then Dimitri, you know, threw some mud at her, and she was like, oh no, and then, like, was it the hose? I think it was the hose, actually. Then, like, the hose, and they hosed each other, and then they threw mud at each other. And then, like, Nova, just out of fucking nowhere, spawns in, fucking kicks Dimitri's ass. And then just, you know, acts like nothing happened. Spawns out of fucking nowhere. Remember, he just like logged onto the server. It just what the fuck you doing, man? It's crazy to me how the fuck any of this got passed as real. Whatever. And then Dimitri's like, fucking asshole. tells the girl to stop dating him. And then after the end of the soccer game, after Dimitri made up with the bitch, the rich bitch. I'm calling her rich bitch from now on. The rich bitch from that, yeah. The rich bitch, after they made up, he said he was sorry, and everything's all good. Then they went to a soccer game. The girl was handing out, she was cheerleading, or was she handing out? She might have been handing out water. I think it was handing out water. She was handing out water for the soccer game between Nova's school and Dimitri's school. And after the match, since Dimitri won, Nova and his gang pulled up on Dimitri, started kicking his ass. And then the rich bitch, pulled Nova away and told her, fuck you, you're crazy, kill yourself. And then the dad of Nova just pulls out of nowhere. Is it a genetic thing? Is it just in their blood where they just... Granted, that one's more reasonable because he could have just been outside and he walked in, but I feel like we would have known about it sooner, and they would have stopped Dimitri from getting his shit being out of him. But then, then Dimitri and the rich bitch end up at the end there. That's it. Oh, and then the rich bitch goes back to being rich after. Yeah, I should probably mention that. Anyway, last one. Last, but certainly. I'm sorry if I'm going a little fast. This is 20 minutes into this recording. And I still have 3 other brain rots to get through, each of which being like a solid paragraph and a half long. This is a 3-page script. So and I'm only on the beginning of page 2. So we better get going. Next one. The one that's just about the Amish. I've looked at, I'm 90% sure now that I'm thinking about it, it's just about how Amish people live. Just kidding. No, it's not. This girl, she works in a commune? Why the fuck did I just forget that? Commune, right? Commune. We find out pretty fast she's part of a commune cult, where only girls live. So I'm like, okay. Starting off a little strange, but it's not too bad. And then they keep bringing up the same part. Like, they used it twice in the video of just comparing that to the Ku Klux Klan. I'm not even joking. They're comparing their commune to the Ku Klux Klan. The fuck? They are so different in so many different ways. It is unbelievable how they're doing it for attention, I think. I think they're just doing it for attention, honestly. This girl, did I write her name down? Nope. I just referred to her as she. I'm a dumbass. Anyway, let's just keep going. She is instructed to look exactly how the warden does, which just strips everyone of their identity in this fucking commune, and to never leave and never go outside the gates. Which, for a cult, yeah, that makes sense. The working part sounds a bit Amish, but we'll deal with it. And they have a lot of striking resemblance or similarities to the Amish. Not technology. They don't inbreed, though, because there's only women, so we're just gonna skip right past that. You know what I found out earlier today? A lot of Amish people apparently have 6 fingers. They got 6 of these things on one hand. And it's like the dominant trait because just how many people have it. It's crazy to me. I don't know how. Anywho, in case you haven't figured out how these people are getting to this commune, they were fucking kidnapped as children. My brain's fried. They were kidnapped as children at a young age, which, one, where are the fucking search parties? All these kids went missing as babies. Little girls went missing as babies, and yet no one is looking for them. No one cares when everyone is suddenly pushed back into society. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But I digress. Let's move on. She's just a slave. And then randomly she hears rustling out in the bushes. She goes out, sees that someone else tried to escape. The warden came out, shot her dead, whoever's trying to escape, and then the main character ran off, finds a guy driving down the road in a car. She hops in his car and then reports everything to the police, and the police just shut it down. That's it. That's it. And then the woman at the very end, after breaking up with the guy who saved her, by the way, he was a dick, in case you couldn't tell from the video, wants to go back. Wants everything to... I swear I just saw my door open. Wants to go back to everything as it was before. Which is crazy to me. Why the fuck do you want it to go back as the way it was before? You were a slave. People were getting kidnapped. You were getting shot dead. You were stripped of any identity. That's fucked up. That is... I can't find a single reason why you would want to go back. Why you'd want things to go back to how they were. Innocent children being kidnapped. Innocent people being shot. People stripping of their identities. Being a slave. No, I want to go back. Now that we're done with that bullshit, let's move on to brain rot number 2. The one I showed you in the beginning. This shit that I feel like whenever I watch, I might be high on LSD. Not quite sure, though. I know kids today somehow like this shit. Like, I don't know how, honestly. You've probably seen this channel discussed before. They're called Lanky Box, with over 36 million subscribers. Can I just say how fucking absurd that is, that a channel that does this, there's more than all the boys, you know the boys group, all of their main channels and side channels combined. Not even, no, is it all their side? No, it's just their main channels combined. All their main channels and the boys channels combined, and Jacksepticeye. That is more than both of those. I did the math. It was like 35,000 for the 35 million for the boys, and like Jack's at 30 million. It shocks me. They're about to beat out Mark, who is making a fucking movie. And they have 5 of these channels pumping out the same things over and over and over again, and it's fucking absurd. People who spent years on this platform, like I mentioned before, and do great things like Jacksepticeye's Thankamus and Markiplier's Iron Lung movie and all the charity work he's done. While these people just go fast and show shiny, bright colors to gain attentions of millions of kids whose parents just let them use their iPad, and that's the entire reason these people are fucking popular. I get really mad when talking about all this shit, in case you couldn't tell, because it's fucking absurd. Their videos pretty much just go like this.
Can we survive playing the scariest Roblox stories ever made at 3 a.m.?
We play secret levels in Scary Elevator, go on a cursed scary cart ride, and even play a creepy fan-made LankyBox.exe game.
But first, Adam, let's ask our evil crush and see if she wants to go to prom with us at 3 a.m.
This is what we trust our kids with. This is what our future generation is growing up with. I know our generation grew up with, like, Annoying Orange, but that isn't nearly as bad as this. Like, if I saw anyone, even if they were my own family, watching this, I would grab their dumb little iPad out of the grubby little hands, and I would toss that shit into the nearest body of water. And then I would toss them into the nearest body of water to electrocute with the iPad. I didn't mention this before. I'm pretty much done talking about them because I don't want this video to be an hour long. But it'll probably be an hour long. I didn't mention this before. Yeah, but like I said, they have like 5 of these channels doing the exact same thing, and they constantly, like, it's physically impossible, but they somehow keep doing it, where they just have their merch. They just have their fucking merch in the shot, even if it's physically impossible for them to be playing the game while holding their merch.
Wants to go to prom with us at 3 a.m.
Alright, let's hope it goes well.
They still do it somehow. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. Like, there's this one clip of them playing a game where one of them has one of their arms, the one that would normally be on the mouse, holding their fucking merch and somehow still playing the game. How? How the fuck does that even happen? How do you do that? And I didn't mention this before, but there's a 5th form of brain rot. And they do both. Their shorts on YouTube aren't anything to do with their content. It's this brain rot. How? They make these ass shorts with characters from The Amazing Digital Circus, which I haven't even fucking watched yet, but somehow it got popular, and Poppy Playtime, and it pisses me off.
I've seen argument about these, like, I've seen arguments, like I said, how these are pretty much how, like, ours was growing up with, like, Annoying Orange, like I said. But ours was nearly not as bad as this. Like, I grew up watching dumbass channels, I will admit that, for, like, 2 years. But then I started watching people who are actually good, like Mark, Jack, Dan, Thanos. Thanos is another one. But this shit is not fine. This is what lowers people's attention spans. Now, we have... God, kill me. Thirst traps. Not all thirst traps. Just the ones... Sorry, my chair is really uncomfortable. The fucking back broke, as you can see here. It has no backrest, so my back is really pain. Help me. But now we have the ones that are these thirst traps, specifically I just tossed my mic on the ground. Can you even hear me? I don't even know, honestly. Now we have these thirst traps that are designated. Not designated, really. It's more like... What is the fucking word? What is the word? What is the word? Targeted. Targeted to people under the age of fucking 15. Do you know how many kids today... If you go ask any kid under the age of 10 if they know what sex is, they're probably going to say yes. And then do a little gesture and moan. And stick their tongue out. And then, you know, you ask them what human decency is, and not a single one's going to tell you. It is too many. Too many of them will tell you that. These videos are just... Here, look at this. It's just a lady. A lady with big tits or big ass. And it annoys me to hell. Big tits, big ass. It annoys me to hell. Because I couldn't imagine... I'm not giving any disrespect to whoever does this shit. Just don't target it towards fucking kids. Please. Anyway, I was saying. I couldn't imagine objectifying myself like this. Just to make a few bucks. I know it could be a lot of money or whatever. But still. I'm not an object. I have a brain that functions. Neurons. I have neurons up in my brain. I'm not a physical chair or a couch or a cabinet. I'm not any of those things. It's just these people, they're just taking they're taking advantage of teens who can't control their hormones and need something to crank their hogs to. You know what else? It's not even just for the guys. It's also really bad for the girls, because it's making a lot of young women today feel very insecure about their body. Which can lead to a lot of bad things like depression. Like, if a girl were to ask a guy out, and today, in modern day, the guy would, and the girl is like, you know, maybe a bit overweight, small tits, small ass, whatever. I don't really care. You can figure out the details in your head of what you consider hot or not. Today's modern standards. The guy would probably say no because of her body. And that's fucked up. That is fucked up. People today only care about sex, and I hate it. I hate it. That might really be because I don't really get a sexual attraction when I look at anyone. As a 15-year-old man, I know I might be too young to be saying that. I don't give a shit. But I've never ever looked at a person and gone, oh yeah, I want to fuck them. That's just wrong. I've never had a crush on anybody, sexual or not. And if I am in a relationship, it should be because me and the other person love each other. And it reciprocates both ways. I don't want them for their body or for their wealth. I want them for them. You know what I mean? I feel like most guys can agree with me on this. I keep looking at myself. I'm sorry if I'm not looking at the camera. This is like one of my first ever times doing this. So, this is pretty much my first time doing a video essay type shit. So, you've probably seen these videos of, like, people under the age of 12 doing dirty, inappropriate things to women in their early 20s, and it's downright disturbing. Like, they'll go up to them and go, I don't even want to make the actions. I was going to, but I don't even want to, because it's just fucked. Like, they'll go up to them, like, fucking talk about their ass right in front of them, even though they're fucking 10. And the girl's, like, 23. We arrive at the final and last form of brain rot. The ultimate form of brain rot. Subway Surfers, Family Guy, Minecraft, cutting video. If they force you to stay by like switching your attention between all like 4 of the things,
And then they have this one specific thing in the middle that you're probably actually there for. And by doing this, they make money because the more times you watch it, the more money they get. So if you're watching it for the Family Guy, and then you watch it for the thing in the middle, and then you watch it for the Minecraft, then you watch it for the... You watch it 5 times, they get 5 times the amount of money. Pretty much. In case you couldn't tell by now, one of the things I hate most about the internet in general is people being used. Like, what the fuck? You seen that shit, right, where it just changes... The fuck? This is one of the prime examples of people being taken advantage of these kids who, you know, are being drawn in by these funny characters and Minecraft and satisfying videos and their favorite game, whatever it may be, which I will say is not fun. Subway Surfers. Yeah, I'm gonna go on a tangent real quick just to say it's just a chase game. Subway Surfers. I don't get how people like it. It's fine. I don't really care. I don't get how people say it's their favorite game. I would much rather be playing something else. You can make fun of me all this one. You call this shit fun, swiping your finger back and forth for God knows how long? I will say, my attention span is pretty damn short. I will admit that. But that's not really because of YouTube and TikTok and Instagram or whatever. I have diagnosed ADHD. I'm not one of the people who goes about saying, oh, I have ADHD, all because you don't pay attention because you're a fucking slob. And one of the symptoms is short attention spans. When I don't have my focus, when I don't have something else to focus on, my hand, with like my hands or other parts of my body, on my like legs, but the majority of people watching these don't. Also, I'm going off on another tangent. I like to go off on tangents in case you couldn't tell. I cannot be the only one tired of people not believing I have ADHD, because how many people just say they have things like OCD? Oh, like the people go, oh, I fidget and can't focus all the time, but that's just my ADHD. And I'm just like, bitch, shut your fucking mouth. You don't have ADHD. You just can't focus. Just say that. Do you have a doctor's diagnosis or not? Because I sure fucking do. I was diagnosed in 1st grade. You want to know a real quick funny story? In 1st grade, I had you know those little mats where like you'd have your designated square to sit on with like the rest of the class. I moved around so much as a kid. Like, this is when I first got diagnosed. I moved around so much as a kid that I had a 2x2 to myself. I had 4 squares. Everyone else had 1. Everyone else had 1. I had 4. And I would just... You can probably hear the chair. This is an old-ass chair, in case you couldn't tell. Yeah, no, I would just enjoy my fucking time. I don't remember any of this, by the way. I was just told this. End of tangent and story time. I may have held this off for the end, because I thought it was just awful. And this last form of brain rot is reaction content, baby. Reaction content on YouTube. Reaction content on YouTube has gotten so much worse over the years, especially with Sniper Wolf and people like her. She is one of the main reasons kids are just brain dead and think that doxing people is okay. Because YouTube did nothing about it except take monetization away for like a few days, and she made another channel, so it didn't even matter. Hey, okay, whatever. This is just a little rant at the end of another form of brain rot that makes you physically brain dead. They're not really a sort of brain rot, they're just dumb. Kinda wanna say that. All in all, now that the video's over, this generation's ruined. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Peace. Hope this video made you laugh a little bit, maybe. Or, brightened your day up a little bit. That's all I really want. Okay, see ya. Bye. See you in the next one. Tell me, also, real quick, tell me how you feel about me doing these kind of video essays. If you want another one of these, maybe drop an idea down below. I wouldn't mind seeing some. So, you know what? I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.